an ounce. The rand is trading at 18.05 to the dollar, 23.96 to the pound, 20.82 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.76 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M1 North. This is between Xavier Street and the Crown Interchange. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling along the Golden Highway between the N12 and the N1, roadworks are taking place along this route. Please be on the lookout and expect delays.
In your sport, Orlando Pirates coach Abdeslam Wadu looking for a great start to the Betway Premiership as his side faces a tough opener with Sekhukhune this weekend. Porto FC in mourning following the sudden death of Director of Football and former captain Jorge Costa. And Australia scraps its selection policy on overseas-based rugby players.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng, Johannesburg starting at 6 degrees, peaking at 22. Pretoria 9 and 23, Vereeniging 3 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The Gauteng Premier's office says the suspension of 2 high-ranking officials from the Community Safety Department is a precautionary measure to ensure fair and unbiased investigations.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 6 o'clock, it is smack bang in the middle of the week. It's a Wednesday. Welcome to 702 Breakfast on this 6th of August, the year of our Lord 2025. Welcome to the show wherever you're listening to us from, whether you are in Edenvale or Guatemala, maybe you're in Nigel or Springs, Tembisa or Thokoza. Hey, wherever you are. Doesn't matter. Over the last few days, it's been so thrilling to note many of you watching, of course, our live stream on YouTube. We've heard from people in England, we've heard from people in Berlin, from people in Toronto, Canada. We see you too, but also, of course, we want to acknowledge people are watching us in Gauteng, around the country. So you could be in Durban, you could be in Cape Town. I've seen a number of messages from people in different parts of South Africa. Our job is very simple. We'll tell you what's going on in the world, why it matters, how it will impact you. We love to hear what's happening in your world. And of course, if you are around 702 land, as always, you are our eyes and ears. If there's something you think you need us to know, the rest of 702 land needs to know, do give us a tinkle, do give us a WhatsApp voice note, and we will get word out there. We're a community. We're in conversation. And that's what it's all about. Let's go.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 after 6, as always, of course, I am not alone. I've got my esteemed colleagues. Amogelang Ramila, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Bongs. Morning, 702 Landers.
KG starting the clock on the desk. We've got producers Ropfiwa and Siamtanda behind the scenes. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see them walking up and down, giving me pieces of paper. Sometimes they'll be wagging a finger, looking at me all very cross because, I'm not doing this or I'm not doing that. They're almost like the outsurance pointsman, really, directing our traffic, if you will. Because often on the YouTube feed, people are saying, who are all these people running around giving us papers? There's a whole lot that goes into how the sausage tastes. And if you want to see how it is made, you can check us out on YouTube. Muteo Khwarepe is here with business news and so much more.
I keep wondering whether we're in a movie. All the stories that you're telling me off air, but you'll discuss them shortly. But I'm just like, we're in a blockbuster in South Africa.
Well, talking of that, I suppose that goes straight into our menu. You'll hear from Cindy Paluta, of course, throughout the show, as well as Sfiso Zulu, giving you everything you need to know in the news. So what's on our menu today? Well, we start with Crystal Alderson in the first hour of the show. It is a Wednesday, and so on Wednesdays, we look at stories from the rest of the continent that we think you should pay attention to. One of them is protests that have erupted in Angola, and a number of civil society organizations there saying security forces are using excessive force in responding and dealing with those. Because you ever wonder what happens in some countries? You know there's a country called Angola. You know the capital is Luanda. But how much do you know about what actually happens in Angola if you are not from there? And that's why we bring you the Africa Report. And in a sense, we're theming things, the continent today, because we've been focusing for some time now on Gaza and what's unfolded there, the humanitarian disaster that's unfolded there. We have told you about the war in Ukraine. We have told you about other conflict zones. But do you want to know what hell on earth looks like? It's a tale of two countries that were cleaved, cut in half to create two separate countries. There's Sudan in the north, and there's South Sudan in the south. The UN has called it the world's worst humanitarian crisis because since they are split, they both have civil wars individually. So they're at war with themselves, not each other. Internally, there's a civil war in Sudan. There's a civil war in South Sudan. It has led to incredible displacement. Then, of course, there's issues like climate and weather patterns. People are literally dying of starvation. Women, children, trapped between the two warring sides with no path of escape and no food. Disease outbreaks. It is a horror story. And it's happening in South Sudan and it's happening in Sudan. You may remember about 20 years ago, there was much focus on a genocide in Darfur, in a part of the western part of what was then all of Sudan. And the world's attention seems to have moved away. I want to know what happened to that genocide. What happened to those militias? What were they called? The Janjaweed. They sounded pretty frightening just from their name. What's happened to all of that? And why is the world looking away? Right? So we'll give you, if you like, an idiot's guide to that conflict. We'll be able to look at Sudan specifically, and we'll look at South Sudan specifically, so that you have a sense of what's going on in what, again, I say, is the world's worst humanitarian disaster.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
13 minutes after 6 o'clock. And then, my goodness me, we got word from the Daily Maverick yesterday that their senior investigative reporter, Peter Louis Myburgh, whom you have heard from many a time on this station, who's written books about corruption in South Africa, that there was an attempt to bribe him. The suspended IDT CEO, according to Peter Louis Myburgh, attempted to bribe him to make stories go away. He's claiming that he was offered a 60,000 rand vulamlom. What was that word from, was it yesterday or the day before? Amuse-bouche, right? That was that word. I love finding new words, right? Which means just starter. That's what it is. It's a vulamlom, right? 60,000 rand, he claims. And they offered him a lot more. They offered him 100,000 rand as a kind of retainer. Or they said, if you'd like tenders, we'll give you those. And he says he's got some of this on camera. They set up a sting, and he can prove that they were trying to bribe him. He'll talk to us just after 8 o'clock to explain exactly what this is all about. You remember, of course, the IDT's mandate is for social infrastructure projects like building schools and building clinics. And this is what is being done with that money. Join us a little after 8 o'clock to have that story. Transnet, of course, has been the centerpiece in the conversation about logistics in South Africa. And as they try to get all of that right, they're also trying to be a corporate that cares. And we'll speak to their CEO just before 9 o'clock, who'll tell us about all their initiatives. So that's what's on our menu today.
Let's walk the talk.
7:02.
Here's a question. Have you said a joke and it just didn't land? It went completely south, either because maybe you forwarded a meme or a joke to the wrong person, right? So what you may not know is off air, I'm that guy who sends dozens and dozens and dozens of reels, right? Especially of things that I find funny. And I send very different reels to you, Amo, than I do to Muteo. Because the sense of humor is a little different, right? I'll send you jokes that are about being moms or something that's a little funny, sometimes even inspirational. The dark humor jokes,
They go to Muteo.
they go to Muteo.
Okay.
And one of the things, because the thing Instagram will say, want to send separately? I'm always worried I'm going to send the wrong joke to the wrong person. And actually, how I started sending dark humor jokes to Muteo is that I mistakenly sent him something that I thought was hysterical, but he found it funny. So I kept it moving. Right? I kept it moving, and here we are. Have you done that, where you sent the wrong joke to the wrong person and it just didn't land? Or you thought this was really, really hysterical and you shared with a colleague or a friend and they thought, why would you find that funny? And you went, oh, Nkosi Yami,
It's a
Nkosi
very
Yami,
hard
Nkosi
thing,
Yami.
hey, when a joke doesn't land. In high school, for our English class, we're reading the book Buckingham Palace District 6, and we're asked to do a reenactment and group each other and, act out the scenes from this particular book. And we thought it would be cool if we used modern lingo for the characters instead of using the script from the book. And we were swearing and doing all sorts of things. And we got 0 for that assignment.
Modern lingo is not swearing.
No, like Totita, we use all sorts of things. It was really vulgar, and our teacher was like, this is shock tactics. This is not what theatre is about. And we got 0. And I learned that day that, sometimes what you think.
There's a time and there's a place
Yeah, exactly.
for everything. We, of course, always ask you these shout-out questions to illustrate something that we think you should pay some attention to in the news. And that's coming up.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
17 after 6 o'clock, the Gauteng Premier's office says the suspension of 2 high-ranking officials from the Community Safety Department is just a precautionary measure to ensure fair and unbiased investigations. Department Head Nontsikelelo Sisulu and Chief Financial Officer Mduduzi Malupe were suspended with immediate effect yesterday. Their suspension comes after a forensic investigation, which was at least looking at the Premier's office, which uncovered financial irregularities within the department. Do you believe these are the only ones? Do you believe this is the only department? You know what the cynic in me is asking? I wonder what they did to offend the powers that be.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
18 after 6, Mateo Hodepe, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know how you shop for your groceries in your home. Do you go to the nearest retailer because it's just around the corner, or your choice of retailers swayed by the loyalty points that you have in your wallet and the delivery convenience that that retailer provides for you? Or are you willing to travel the distance in order to get a special or in order to get the right price? So you could drive past the Spar, for instance, to go to like a ShopRite.
I think it depends. There are days when I'm doing, depending on what's on my list, right? So sometimes you want certain things from, say, Checkers, and other times you want certain things from a Woolies, or you want them from a Clicks. So you look for a center that has all of those in one place so that you don't have to travel from store to store to store to store. I'm quite picky about where I buy my fruit and veggie. We've got a local greengrocer in Lyndhurst that I like because it just has things at affordable prices. So it really depends on what it is that I'm buying and how much of it I may buy. I'm one of those who's wary about traveling vast distances to get to a special, because I think the money you're saving is the money that's going into your fuel.
Not really. When I don't have money, or when I'm like thin on my budget, I literally sit down and I look at all the specials and I write down, okay, my cleaning products, I'm going to get them at Checkers because I'll use my extra savings loyalty points to buy those. They will be more cheaper. That for my dairy products, I'll go to Woolies because but that's when I don't have, that's when I'm on a thin budget.
And when you cash flush?
Do you know about
I
the
just
doesn't
go
matter.
for
Just shop
convenience.
anyway.
I go for convenience.
Do you know about the 10% on the extra savings?
Oh, yes.
Do you know about the 10%? If you subscribe, I think it's like $99 a month you pay. And then once a month, you can get 10% if you activate that special saving off your groceries on top of the savings
Always
and the
pops
specials
up
they
on
have.
my app. I always
at
swipe it
Checkers.
away.
That's
I
why.
haven't read
It trust me, that 99 Rand comes back many
Handy.
times.
I'll tell you what
Comes
I'm
back
asking.
many times.
702.
Weather.
It's the 702 discounts with Bongani Bingwa. What conditions can you expect on this Wednesday? A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. Temperatures will peak at 22 degrees in Jozi, 23 in Pretoria, 21 in Vereeniging. Cape Town, your maximum is 15. It's 25 for Bombela. Bloemfontein, what's going on there? Only 12 degrees is your high. It's 20 in Durban, 15 in Gqeberha, 16 in East London, and also 12 for Kimberley. All right, let's have a first look at the roads. Amo?
Well, Bongani, in Alberton, we've got a car stuck on the road. It's on the shoulder of this route, the R59 North, right after Swartkopies Road. It's already causing delays. Please be on the lookout there. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North between the Earlands turn off and Van Buren Road, as well as on the M1 North between a stop and go, in fact, between Xavier Street and the Crown Interchange. I'll have more reports and updates for you, but if you come across anything else, we're on X at EWN Traffic.
They're already coming for me, Amo. Someone is saying, I thought you and Amo agreed. This is Mzikabawa who says, morning, where's that suit? I thought you and Amo agreed to wear a suit every day. It is a suit. It's a tracksuit.
No, Bongani.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age, or now also in a no-water-needed, fruity-flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and phlegmings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Morning, Bongs. Slightly off topic. Moteo's story about the play just reminded me of my high school days, where we did inter-house plays and each house had to put on a play. We did Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs with a twist. So the twist was the Seven Dwarfs were actually male strippers, and I was one of the dwarfs. So we wore like short shorts and we did raunchy dances and all sorts of stripper things. And you know what? We actually won the competition.
So clearly your school and your teachers had a better sense of humor than Muteo's school. Do you still have the moves? Do you still know how to? Yeah, maybe what's in the past is best left in the past.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
24 after 6, things you need to know at this hour. The Democratic Alliance has introduced what they want to, a constitutional amendment bill to prevent impeached judges and former Chapter 9 heads removed for misconduct from holding elected office. The bill aims to close a legal loophole that does allow individuals removed for ethical violations to still run for public office. If passed, it would raise the ethical bar for public representatives and block those found unfit from re-entering constitutional roles. So you can't have this ridiculous situation where, for example, John Hlophe impeached, right, as the former judge president of the Western Cape, now a member of parliament and essentially the leader of the opposition in parliament, the very house that said he was unfit to be a judge. Amco Road in Centurion has reopened after being closed for over 3 years due to a massive sinkhole caused by an underground water leak. Extensive geological investigations and repair have cost over 4.4 million rand, but we're told now the ground is stabilized, damaged pipes have been replaced, and the road has been rebuilt, and it restores a vital route for residents, many of them who have faced major disruptions during the closure. I've got a similar road in my neighborhood. It's a stretch of the Modderfontein R25, just near the Edenvale Hospital, where renovations have been going on for donkey's years. And of course, one of the things that happens with these things is as they get closer to the end, there's a real sense of disruption as they try to resurface the road and do all kinds of things. If you drive around Amcor Road, if you live in Centurion, I'd love to hear from you what you are seeing and whether this restoration has made you happy and made your commute just a little bit easier. Hiroshima marks the 80th anniversary of the atomic bombing with a memorial ceremony attended by global leaders, including representatives from nuclear power. There's a list of 349,246 victims, including, of course, the marking of the recent deaths of those who survived then. It's all going to be happening at the Peace Memorial Park. We can hear more of it from Adam Gilchrist in The World View. Bill and Hillary Clinton, along with other high-profile figures, have been subpoenaed by the U.S. House Oversight Committee in its investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. The committee is demanding testimony and records from officials across the Obama, Trump, and Biden administrations, including former attorneys general and FBI directors. So there's two ways to look at this. Either they're trying to deflect from Trump, or they're going after all of them. And I just wonder at the back of my head, could this Epstein thing be the ultimate downfall of not only Donald Trump, but for many of America's political elites? And I want to tell you a story that I think you ought to know, but it's also the story that I think Sifiso Zulu wants to talk about. So let me not steal his thunder.
702.
The newspapers. You winked at me, Sifiso Zulu.
Yeah.
You laughed about this story.
Yes.
So I'll let you tell it.
Well, it's page 3 of the Sowetan.
Yeah.
It's about the insurance company Pineapple. They found themselves in a bit of, hot water. So, they are known for their humorous, funny billboards to try and simplify the selling of insurance, right?
They want to be the Nando's of insurance.
I guess so. So somebody then saw one of their billboards, and I guess they were rubbed the wrong way. And the billboard reads, "Driving without a car insurance is like saying dumelang to a taxi driver." And this person says it insinuates that taxi drivers who are predominantly Zulu speaking wouldn't understand the greeting dumelang. Therefore, if you do not have insurance, then you don't understand why you're driving. So now this person complained with the Advertising Regulatory Board, and the Regulatory Board says that
has agreed.
It says the advert is full of tribalistic stereotypes, undertones like the one that assumes that all taxi drivers are Zulus and they hate Sotho Tswana people. And
That's
they
so
have
silly.
ordered Pineapple to remove the advert as soon as possible.
So if you are in, I don't know, the Free State, wouldn't you say dumelang to a taxi driver?
But then remember,
Kgotsong?
then remember the assumption is that a lot of Zulu speaking people are taxi drivers.
I can understand the thinking perhaps in Gauteng, but come on.
Yeah, it was a billboard in Gauteng.
I don't know.
So they were found wanting.
I don't know if I agree with those regulators, but that is what it is. Here's the thing. In a multilingual society like ours, when do you know when to say dumelang or sanbonani or goeiemôre? Right? Do you consciously code switch depending on the environment? And how do you interpret which greeting to use in which setting?
One thing I appreciate coming from Mpumalanga, moving to Gauteng, there is a lot of multilingual that happens. It's easier to learn other languages. So I can speak a bit of Tswana with Amu from what I've heard her communicating to her.
I try, and then I catch myself and I say, oh, I'm saying the wrong thing. And they're just, shame, they're so patient with me. They never point out my mistakes. All right, the Citizens front page: to serve, to protect and to serve the ANC. Police leadership has stopped policing certain crimes in which their political comrades are involved, says the Citizen. And the Sowetan, SA confronts Eswatini. This is that story about those criminals deported from the US to Eswatini, which many of us worry will end up here. Durko taking up that fight with our neighbor. And Business Day's front page: bank CEO flags rift. And of course, I think this is that story Muteo covered between the Finance Ministry and the Central Bank yesterday.
EWN Business.
All right, Muteo, you want to know about how we do our grocery shopping. Find the nearest retailer, order online. Do loyalty points matter? Are you willing to travel far and wide for the right price and specials, even though that may cost you fuel, wear and tear on your car? What prompts the question?
All those things that you've mentioned, Bongani, ShopRite seems to be covering when it comes to retail. ShopRite has now grown its market share for a fifth straight year. Africa's largest retailer is not only attracting shoppers with low prices to their stores, but also using loyalty points and delivery options to reach its customers at their homes. ShopRite expects to report a significant rise in profit, with more than 20% increase in headline earnings per share for total operations. ShopRite's SA operations were responsible for about 85% of sales. The company has made significant progress in expanding its footprint with more than 3,400 stores across the continent. Its online sales through its Checkers 6060 platform also increased by 48%. The continent's largest retailer opened 194 new stores over the past year, including 43 ShopRite stores, 38 Usave stores and 29 Checkers stores. This included 3 Checkers Hyper stores over the past year. In the liquor segment, 36 Checkers and 45 ShopRite liquor stores were also opened across the country. It also covered the pet shop segment. The pet shop science stores added 60 new stores. Checkers Outdoor added 8 new stores, while Unique Clothing, which they also own, added around 10 new stores. The retailer closed operations in Malawi after it got an offer for all 5 of its stores in the country, also winding down its operations in Ghana. Total sales were restated at 232 billion rand for 2024. That just tells you just how much of a giant and juggernaut ShopRite is.
Gosh, next they'll be getting into radio. Oh, where's the rand?
17 rand 87, up 0.5% against the US dollar this morning, at 20 rand 69 cents against the euro, and at 23 rand 77 cents against the British pound. Price of gold $3,374 an ounce, while platinum is at $1,314. Brent crude at $68.12 a barrel. More business after 7.
Straight to the news desk we go now. Don't forget, coming up in this next half an hour, we catch up with Crystal Alderson and the Africa Report. Now, let's talk about a call for the public to get involved. Sviso.
That's right, Bongani. Good morning. Police are asking the public to assist with finding the culprits behind the murder of 4 women in Pretoria. Police discovered their charred remains between Watlu and Deneboom in the past 2 months. The 4th victim's burnt remains were found at Watlu train station on Monday, and the police's Brigadier Brenda Murudili says they have established a task team to investigate.
No one has been arrested yet, but the task team, which has been established to investigate these murders, is working around the clock, following possible leads to trace the perpetrators. The team comprises of seasoned detectives, crime intelligence, forensic, as well as crime scene experts.
The Gauteng Department of Education has recorded more than 600,000 successful applications for the 2026 academic year in just under 2 weeks. The applications for grades 1 and 8 opened on the 24th of July and will run until the 29th of August. The department says the high number of successful applications demonstrate the smooth running of the online system. Department spokesperson Steve Mabona has asked parents to upload certified documents upon completing registrations.
The system supports document verification process by schools, and schools will be prompted to verify and update the status of documents, whether uploaded online or submitted physically. Parents will receive SMS notification once schools acknowledge receipt and verification of documents.
And Cameroon's Constitutional Court has barred opposition leader Maurice Katmo from running for president in the upcoming October general election, citing failure to meet the criteria for candidacy. Katmo has been a vocal critic of President Paul Biya's government and came second in the 2018 presidential election after running for the MRC party. The country's electoral commission excluded Katmo from the official list of presidential candidates because his newly affiliated party, the Manidem, registered more than one presidential candidate, which violated election regulations. Biya, who has ruled Cameroon for 43 years, will seek an 8th term in office without any significant opposition. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 3 and 6 degrees, peaking at highs between 21 and 23.
And in the traffic, we've got a car stuck on the road on the R59 North. This is in the Alberton area, right near Swartkopies Road. It's causing delays. Please be on the lookout there. While travelling on the M1 North, delays between Xavier Street and Carr Street. This is due to peak time delays on the M1 North.
The top story this hour, Gauteng police have called on the public to assist with finding the culprits behind the brutal murder of 4 women in Pretoria.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Tsepang from Midrand. I love 72 because of the credibility of their news, also credibility of their information. You can rely on their presenters, and on a lighter note, I also love their Whis quiz feature.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Selling your car shouldn't be a mission. We Buy Cars gets it. Life's short, time's precious. Get an offer online and sell your car within a day from wherever it suits you. It's really that simple with We Buy Cars. Shopping for your new ride? Discover thousands of vehicles online or in-store. We Buy Cars, South Africa's trusted way to buy and sell cars.
Hollywood Bets brings you another electrifying exclusive. Enjoy SA's first premium online poker experience when you dive into explosive new titles from Even Bet Gaming. Prepare to become a virtual pro when you unlock your all-access pass to entertainment and try Texas Hold'em, Omaha, 7-card stud, and lots more. Play your cards right and you could reel in exciting rewards. Ready to strike it rich? Play now for a chance to win it all. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The situation around Mantengu Mining. They went to court last week. They wanted to force you, as the JSE, to publish a SENS statement. They say you stopped them from doing that.
The matter is in the court. Our SENS platform, it's not to be used for anything other than factually based, relevant company information that is price sensitive.
Dr. Leila Fourie, the CEO of the JSE Limited.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by ABSA CIB. ABSA is a proud lead sponsor of B20 South Africa 2025. ABSA is a registered FSP. Your story matters. 702. Let's walk the talk.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hey, morning, the bongs and the team. This pineapple thing with the with the advertising board, regulatory board, yeah, is I'm with you on this one, bongs. They did not mention that driving without a license is like saying to Melang to a taxi driver in KZN. If that was the case, then yeah, I would have agreed with them. But now that it didn't mention the place, and yes, it's placed in Gauteng, there's different types of tribes or cultures or, yeah, different types of people of different types of languages that stay in Gauteng, you know. For example, there could be a taxi driver coming from Lesotho. You get what I mean? So I don't understand these people. What are they talking about? It's actually crazy that they would even take the time to consider to order pineapple to take off the sign.
Hi Bongani, it's Maxwell here. I think this pineapple story, nah, I'm not convinced. But I think it's more or less like what happened to our famous slogan. I miss it, but yeah, nah, we're done hard then. Thank you.
Good morning, Bongani. This is Sami. Bongani, this edge of naked insurance, of saying driving without insurance, is like, it's like saying good Jumela and taxi driver. Not only is it tribalism, but it's racist. It's just wrong in a lot of things. It's just insulting. What are you saying? That saying Jumela and taxi driver is a risk?
Firstly, it wasn't naked. It was pineapple, right? If you've just joined us, there was a formal complaint to the Advertising Regulatory Board after Pineapple Insurance put up a billboard, and they wrote this in isiZulu, by the way, the billboard, but essentially what they wrote translates in English to: driving without car insurance is like saying dumelang to a taxi driver. And the complaint was that this assumes all taxi drivers are Zulu and therefore would be offended by anyone saying dumelang because that is not in isiZulu. I don't know if I can... so sometimes your objection confirms that you believe the thing that you think you're being accused of, all right, or the thing that you think is being said about you. Let's for a second go with the idea that all taxi drivers are Zulu. Why would they be offended at the word dumelang? It's just a greeting, right? If you got into a taxi in Gauteng in a predominantly Zulu area and said, Abshane, why would you assume the Zulu people are going to be offended by you speaking a language different from theirs? See, I think some of these objections at times say more about the people who object than the original joke. Because the very idea that you are suggesting all taxi drivers are Zulu, really? Mthatha, all taxi drivers are Zulu. In Pulugwane, all taxi drivers are Zulu. Come on, man.
EWN Sport.
Cindy, have you ever sent the wrong joke to the wrong person? Or tried a prank and it just went south? Or has it happened to you where somebody thought they were really being hysterical?
You know, sometimes people send me jokes and I go, and then I just put the laughing emoji and I'm just like, oh my gosh. I would just like to take this moment to tell everybody that the polluter jokes are very old, my friend. If you think that you're coming onto my Twitter timeline to be like, oh, Cindy pollution, oh, air polluter, it's so old. So old.
I've never even thought about that.
But we get it.
Really?
Like, I think we've even had like on the voice notes, like I think even polluter, pollution. I'm like, old guys, old. Like I've been married, I think going on, it's 19 years this year.
Yeah.
That's how old
you've heard all of them.
The joke is.
I hadn't.
But
yeah.
Yesterday, my husband cracked such a dad joke, but I actually just packed out laughing. So I was on Rule Bogilia's show yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
And I said to him, just so you know, I'm going back into 702. I WhatsApp him and I'm like, I'm going in for Rule Bogilia's show. They're going to interview me about my podcast, la, 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 la. And he goes, sure, it must be exciting to think that you're going to be on the radio. And then you put like a winking emoji and I was like, dad joke, yeah? And then you wrote, I'm joking, and I said, yes, I know. But I've never I think I've done it once where I've screenshot a conversation, and sent it to the person who I was having the conversation with, and then they were like, who was that for?
Yeah, that's happened to me too.
Oh, you want to die.
Yeah.
And you can't even, and so if the person's online, you can't even delete fast enough, okay?
Because they've seen it. Yeah.
You're scrambling. Oh, I get the crawls thinking about it.
Let's talk football.
Yes.
Betway Premiership kicks off
this Saturday. Finally, the season underway. 6 games in total. Defending champion Sundowns opened their campaign against Chippa. Last season's runners-up Orlando Pirates start under new coach Abdeslam Wadu, taking on Skekune, who finished 4th last season. Going to be a tough one. Here's the new coach.
Now we have to turn the page and to think to the next game. against Sekokone, our ambition is to keep the high level, the high intensity, and to give a good performance on Saturday. It will not be easy, of course.
Why am I hearing Philippe Troussier accent?
It's very French, and with a lot of these coaches, like international, not just coaches, players, etc. If they're from France in particular or Italy, there's a lot of yeah, so a lot of editing. Port FC is a club in mourning. Current director of football and former captain Jorge Costa has died after cardiac arrest at the club's training centre. The 53-year-old, who had 50 caps for Portugal, led the team in their 2004 Champions League victory.
Oh, no.
Yeah. In transfer news, Man United and Newcastle have both made a bid for striker Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig. Australia Rugby scrapped the law prohibiting the selection of overseas-based players. It's reported that Joe Schmidt will still favour Super Rugby players over those who play abroad. The decision now opens the door for Will Skelton, Tania Letapau, Tom Hooper and Lange Gleeson, who all played abroad. Meanwhile, hooker David Poreki announced his retirement after being left out of the side for the third test with the Lions. I was thinking about this Australia Rugby story. So basically, Australia Rugby and the All Blacks for the longest time wouldn't allow you to play at national level if you didn't play in a local team, right?
Yeah.
And South Africa was one of the few countries that allows you to play overseas, thanks to Rassie. But I was thinking, for how many years did we think that it was backwards for us to allow players who were based, and that the All Blacks, who were like the absolute dominators of rugby, that's why they're the dominators.
Yeah.
It shows you.
Sometimes make a decision that works for you, stick with your gut, and see.
You see, sport is always a metaphor for
life
life.
lesson.
Yeah. In cricket, New Zealand won't have bowlers Will O'Rourke and Nathan Smith for the second test of Zimbabwe starting tomorrow. Both players are injured. And in tennis at the Canada Open, two surprise results. Tosson beating the 6th seed Keys in the quarterfinals. She'll play Osaka in the semifinals. Osaka also getting a straight sets win over the 10th seed Svetlina. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
The brainy kids of the Whis Quiz
On 702.
Morning, Uncle Bongani. My name is Khutato. I'm 10 years old. The school I currently attend to is the Digital Academy. When I grow up, I would like to be a doctor. I'm very excited to play in the Whis Quiz with you guys. Thank you.
Dr. K, will you walk away with 10,000 Rand?
EWN Traffic.
13 to 7, this Eyewitness News Traffic brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. There's a crash on the M1 North. Amo, bad?
Yeah, it is a bad one, Bongani, particularly because it's causing heavy delays coming out of Glenhove Road. It's right near Corlett Drive, but the delays are all the way between Glenhove and Grayston Drive, so please drive with care along this route. If you're traveling in the Sharondy area, we've got another accident scene. This one is right on Malibongwe Drive, right near the N1. It's also causing delays coming out of Bellis Drive. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the lady on her way to work, listening to a love song on the radio. She's recreating the music video in her mind with herself as the leading lady. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a concert on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702. Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
When your internet connection fails, does it really matter how fast it is? Business class internet is built for businesses. With remote monitoring, that means faster problem resolution and a backup LTE connection that keeps you online. Your company deserves business class internet because just reboot the router isn't a business strategy. Find reliability at vodacombusiness.co.za. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Further together. Vodacom Business.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. It's Nandi from the East Rand. So with me, I always assess the environment that I'm at and the people around me. If I've then spent enough time to understand and know what language they speak, I will code switch to that language just to accommodate. I think I'm very accommodated in that sense that I will try to speak the language that you're speaking. Other than that, then I'll resort to English, but I will 9 times out of 10 speak your language. And also, can someone please get me ShopRite shares for my birthday? They've been on my wish list ever since. I'm hearing Matteo talking about them. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, I need ShopRite shares. I really, really do. Thank you. Bye, guys.
You're still waiting for someone to buy them for you? We're buying them for ourselves, I can tell you, for free, right? We're talking, of course, about this complaint relating to Pineapple Insurance, who've now been ordered to withdraw their billboard advertising, essentially saying that, greeting. Let me make sure I've got it absolutely right. It's in the Sowetan. You can read all about it. Driving without car insurance is like saying Dumelang to a taxi driver. That was the offensive statement. I see where the objections are going. I still think it's a bit of a stretch. I think what was intended here was way off the mark of where the objections are going. That's my view. I'd like to hear yours. We're asking then, how readily able are you to code switch, whether it's languages or even if you speak English, Amo, in certain contexts, you do a Musi Maimane. You know what a Musi Maimane is?
Yeah, changing your...
Musi used to speak with but the poshest English accent at the start of his career. If you go find interview clips of Musi Maimane, say 2015, 2016, 2017 or thereabouts, he has but the poshest English, and now his R's are a lot more rrr.
No, wouldn't he do that when he now speaks to people in, say,
No. Even in Parliament, he'll say Parliament. Because you see, he was seen as
the other politician. Oh.
He was mocked for not being black enough. And so he's changed his accent. It's a thing. Code switching, it's a thing.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whis Quiz on 702.
All right, let's give away some cash, shall we? We're playing with 10-year-old Hutadzo, who goes to Digital Academy and wants to wants to be a doctor later on in life. And she's 10 years old. Dr. K, are you ready to play?
Yes.
You see, it even rhymes. Dr. K, are you ready to play? All right, here we go. KG, start the clock. Spell the word picture.
Picture.
Correct. On which month do we celebrate Valentine's Day?
February.
Correct. The term comfy is short for which word?
Comfy. Sorry, please repeat.
The term comfy is short for which word? Comfortable. Complete the saying, first come, first what?
First come, first pass.
Served. What is 4 times 5?
20.
Correct. Which is not a reindeer of Santa Claus? Comet or Rapunzel?
Rapunzel.
Correct. True or false? A cow's stomach has 5 chambers.
False.
Correct. South Africa's deputy president is Paul who? Mashatile is the answer we were looking for there. Mashatile is the answer we were looking for there. A cow's stomach has 4 chambers. 4 chambers. So we got that incorrect. First come, first served. And comfy. That couch is so comfy. My new slippers are so comfy. We mean comfortable. That's short for comfortable. But Khutazo, not a bad round. Not a bad round. 500 Rand is what you walk away with. 5 correct answers is what you got. You're aged 10 to 13. Send us a WhatsApp voice note to 072 702 1702. You can do it now. Tell us your name, your school, your age, and why you want to play.
The Brainy Kids of the Whis Quiz
on 702.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? Brought to you by Outsurance. Up to 3,000 Rand is up for grabs. You send us an answer firstly on anything you heard in the show that piqued your interest, and you win 1,000 Rand for that. So WhatsApp us your name and that answer again to 72-702-1702. Then a little later, someone else will ask a question to get to your answer. Now, you always stand a better chance of being selected if you've SMS'd out to Outsurance to get yourself a quote. So what are you waiting for? SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance.
702.
The Africa Report with Crystal Odison.
All right, Crystal Odison joins us now for stories from the continent that we think you should pay some attention to. This is a really, really worrisome one. Crystal Odison, almost 30 people killed as civil society organizations in Angola accuse that country's security forces of being excessive when it deals with violent protests.
Yes, good morning, Bongani. I don't think Luanda or Angola often make the news, but I think when 30 people are gunned down because they're protesting against the massive increase of petrol, then you do wonder. So we see human rights bodies, both local and international, condemning the action of the police. It was about taxi drivers were angry about the massive increase in the price of petrol. Of course, the security forces came out, and sadly, people were killed, including a mother with 6 children who also joined the protest. But I think there's a deeper underlying issue here, Bongani. For years, Angolans were subsidized with cheaper petrol. Of course, Angola is one of Africa's largest oil producers, so one would assume that at least the ordinary people can benefit from it. Then, of course, we know international bodies like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank coming on board and then saying, well, you need to start phasing out this subsidy because, and we know the story in Nigeria as well. And we do see that there's absolutely been a squeeze on cost of living for ordinary Angolans. In fact, a report came out that it's estimating that 7 in 10 people are unable to afford a healthy diet. And we also see millions lacking access of basic food. So we do see that I think this protest was, about the fact that people simply do not have enough to keep the lights on, to buy food, to eat food. And this protest is more a symptom of that cost of living. And then, of course, the MPLA have been in power since independence in 1975, Bongani. So there's not been a sea change in political power as well. And we do know that the elites in that country have had it really good. So anger in Luanda, Bongani.
Yeah, I mean, it's an extraordinary development because this increase is not just, a 10% increase in the price of fuel. It went up by 1/3. So can you imagine your petrol all of a sudden costing more than 33% more than it used to? I saw a report on Al Jazeera about a woman being shot from behind by a policeman as the protesters were all crying, "We're hungry, we are hungry." Let's go to Rwanda now, Crystal. They've signed an agreement with the US, again, to accept migrants deported from America.
So yes, this is the big story in Rwanda. So they say the deal was already signed in June as part of an ongoing cooperation agreement between the two. Now, Rwanda is insisting that they will be vetting those migrants coming and, of course, ensuring that the migrants are not former killers or on death row. But we do know already that those sort of convicted criminals have made their way to other parts of Africa. So Rwanda is saying, look, this is not the first time they're taking in migrants. They say since 2019, they've received hundreds of asylum seekers, for instance, from Libya. And so I do think it's interesting from a legal point of view and, of course, a bigger humanitarian issue. Firstly, we know that the Rwanda-UK deal didn't go through because exactly of human rights issues. It is problematic from a legal point of view in terms of the rights of these migrants. But broadly, as Africa become a dumping ground, and it's clear that the US has smaller, weaker nations. We look at Eswatini, we look at South Sudan. Of course, Rwanda will say no, they are doing it because of its own history and position of displacement. And and that the migrants will be given essential services, etc. But I think it just raises this issue, Bongani, that, smaller African nations have become dumping grounds for migrants that the US don't no longer want.
Yeah, I mean, there's a group that was sent to South Sudan. I know there's conversations about sending some to Eswatini. But listen, Crystal, a U.S. Department of Homeland Security described these groups of migrants as barbaric criminals. So that's how the U.S. sees them. And many of these people are not allowed even back into their countries of origin, but we Africans must take them in. Again, I think it speaks to the kinds of leaders we see in some of the countries on the continent. Crystal Alderson with today's Africa Report.
7:02. Coming up, the big interview.
The big interview focuses on the worst humanitarian crisis unfolding on the planet right now. We're going to get through an idiot's guide, if you will, of what's happening in Sudan, what's happening in South Sudan, and why you should care.
This is EWN.
The man accused of orchestrating DJ Somebody's murder is set to apply for bail, and South Africa flags security concerns about Eswatini taking in criminals from the US. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The alleged mastermind behind the murder of popular musician Opa Sifoka, known as DJ Somebody, is expected to apply for bail in the Alexandra Magistrates Court this morning. Katiso Matlala was arrested last month in connection with the crime. Sifoka died in 2022 together with two of his bodyguards during a drive-by shooting. Humorous Modise reports.
When Katiso KT Molefe was arrested last month in connection with a hit on DJ Somebody, he was already out on bail for another hit on vereniging engineer Armand Swart. Molefe was released on bail by the Pretoria High Court after his application was initially denied in a lower court. Today, Molefe is expected to bring another application for bail before the Alexandra Magistrates Court, where he faces charges of being the alleged mastermind behind DJ Somebody's murder. But he's not the only musician that Molefe is accused of calling a hit on. Last week, police confirmed that the Sandton businessman was also charged for the 2022 murder of a musician known as DJ Bintos, whose real name was Hector Buthelezi. Molefe will appear alone in the Alexandra Magistrates Court today, with his co-accused, the alleged hitmen, not applying for bail. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
In Mpumalanga, more than 50 illegal miners who were arrested at the Sheba Gold Mine over the past 2 days are expected to appear before the Barberton Magistrates Court. The latest group emerged after spending days hiding in the mine underground to evade arrest and police. It comes days after the mass arrest of 494 Zamazamas last Friday, all of whom have already been through the courts. Mongezi Goko reports.
The latest groups of 24 and 30 surfaced under different circumstances, some walking out voluntarily, others escorted by private security after being found in the depths. Of the original 494 arrested on Friday, only 26, all South African with verified addresses, were granted bail. The rest remain behind bars. Police spokesperson Donald Mgluli says more miners may still be underground.
Because within 48 hours, one should appear before court after being arrested. So we are working with the prosecutors to ensure that the arrested appear.
With more than 550 people taken into custody since Friday, the Barberton Magistrates Court is working through cases in stages. Mongezi Goko, Eyewitness News, Barberton.
And government says it's concerned about the impact deported criminals from the United States to neighboring Eswatini could have on South Africa's security. While the nature of Eswatini's agreement with the US is unclear, its government has confirmed that at least 5 inmates are being held in its prisons, and the expectation is that more could follow. The move has drawn widespread criticism that the US is using African countries as a dumping ground for foreign nationals it regards as undesirable. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
As US President Donald Trump comes down hard on African nations through new trade tariffs, it's believed Eswatini has agreed to take the prisoners as a way to get into Trump's good graces. Trump has been on a mission to deport foreign nationals from US prisons since the start of the year. But in the case of those accepted by Eswatini, it's believed their home countries of Jamaica, Laos, Cuba, Yemen and Vietnam did not want to accept them. International Relations spokesperson Crispin Perry says the decision could also impact South Africa.
The government of the Republic of South Africa is deeply concerned about the profile of these individuals and the potential adverse impact on South Africa's national security and immigration policy, given the geographical proximity between the two sisterly countries.
Eswatini says the plan is to collaborate with the International Organization for Migration to facilitate the inmates' return to their native countries. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $3,353.32 an ounce. The rand is at 18.05 to the dollar, 23.96 to the pound, 20.82 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.76 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M2 West between Heidelberg Road and the Crown Interchange. While travelling in Melrose, an accident scene reported right on the M1 North near Corlett Drive. It is causing delays, and there's a car that is stuck on the road right near Grayston Drive, also causing delays on top of the peak time delays that you have to deal with. So please drive with care.
In your sport, Orlando Pirates coach Abdeslam Wadu says players are aware they have to win the trust of their fans. The Betway Premiership opens this weekend. Former Porto captain Jorge Costa has died at the age of 53. Rugby Australia opens the door for overseas-based players to be selected at national level.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg is at a low of 6 degrees, peaking at 22. Pretoria, 9 and 23. Vereeniging, 3 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The alleged mastermind behind the murder of popular musician Opa Sefoka, known as DJ Somebody, is expected to apply for bail in the Alexandra Magistrates Court this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 7 o'clock. If you're listening to us and you are somewhere else in the world, we'd love to hear exactly where you are. Many of you, of course, do tell us as you type into our live chat on our YouTube live stream. We are in our Santon studios in Johannesburg. Always happy to hear from you about all the issues we raise on the show. How quickly do you think and to use the spokesperson of the State Department in the US to use their description of these criminals, barbaric criminals? So bad are some of these guys, their countries of origin don't want them. So normally, if, I don't know, a guy's from Mozambique and you kick him out of your country, where would you send them? Back to Mozambique. If they're from Zimbabwe, you send them back to Zimbabwe. Imagine being so bad, your own country says, hi. Thank goodness he left all those years ago. Liru Narimbat. We also don't want him. Hi. Nia. Sistoch. Nia. Right? So the US has agreed with Rwanda and Eswatini and South Sudan of all countries to send these people there. You know what the real question is for me? And I said this from the get-go. How quickly do you think those so-called barbaric criminals are going to make their way here to South Africa?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 7 o'clock. All right, so let's start with that ad hoc committee that we told you about yesterday. This is, of course, the parliamentary process to investigate the allegations made by the KZN Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. So yesterday, MPs got together to elect the ad hoc committee's chair, and there was some testy exchanges, if you will. Firstly, I want you to listen to the ANC MP Soviet Likhanyane, who was elected to lead that ad hoc committee. And in that process, Action SA MP, an Action SA MP raised some concerns about potential bias given the ANC's involvement in the controversy. So this Action SA MP did not essentially want, or at least she was objecting to the idea of the committee being chaired by an ANC member of parliament. Have a listen.
Let me also put on record something that isn't sitting well with me, and I just wish to place this on record, since Action SA does not hold any voting rights when it comes to voting for the chairperson. And we speak about gaining public trust, and we speak about this committee putting the public first, and we speak about South Africans' eyes being on us. I don't understand when we say that we need to start off on the right foot. But how do we garner public trust when we have a chairperson that has been elected from the very party where most of these people are embroiled in? How does that make the public feel? And I'm referring to the previous commissions, establishments. As Action SA, we have said from the onset that South Africans are tired of committees, South Africans are tired of commissions. And here we start off here today, and we have an ANC chairperson as the chairperson of this committee.
Darlene James, I beg your pardon, is the name of the Action SA MP who was raising that objection. In defense of that election of Soviet Likhanyane, we then had the MP of the ANC, Kusela Digo, talking about how Darlene James was essentially performing for the crowds, performing for the cameras, playing to the gallery. Have a listen.
What I wanted to say, Chair, is that we cannot on the very first day want to collapse this process. And if we are going to have members coming here with the intention of being populist and trying to use what is a very, to quote your words, what you said is a grave concern of the people, they use that for cheap political point scoring, then we are going to have a problem. When you made your opening remarks, you said the people of South Africa are looking to us on this process. There will be no stone that is left unturned. And I think that as members, we should conduct ourselves in that manner and not come here and have to defend statements that are made with the intention of garnering attention for cameras. Thank you, Chair.
Right. Do you think that was a well-founded response to Darlene James's concerns, who says, hang on, most of the people that are accused in these allegations come from this particular party? How then do you have a member of that party chairing an ad hoc committee that's meant to investigate those very allegations? Kusela Dego comes back and says, stop performing for the cameras, stop playing to the gallery. And I'll maybe give you the last word on this that came from the leader of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema, who said, well, hang on a minute.
People speak here. When people speak because you open the floor, they are told they're speaking for cameras. As if some people have got a right here to come and give us notes and tell us what to say. We are not just speaking. The chairperson said speak because it's a first meeting. So we express ourselves and all of that, and then we leave. She's raising her observation on the position of the chairperson because her observation doesn't change anything. Nowhere do they say democratic processes cannot be questioned. She's within her right, and no point of order is necessary because she's not going out of any agreed upon agenda item. And Action SA is speaking for the first time. All we could have done it was to protect her and allow her to make observation, and we proceed.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Fireworks have already started. Now, South Africa is alarmed by this decision of Eswatini next door to accept dangerous criminals deported from the US. DIRCO has raised its concerns with the Kingdom of Eswatini. The US deported 5 individuals convicted of serious crimes. We're talking things like murder and child rape. So awful were these crimes, the countries of origin of these deportees didn't want them back. And the question I have is, how soon do you think they're going to cross that flimsy border fence into South Africa. And, God forbid they do the same here. Listen to this. Capitec has partnered with Fintech company Mama Money. They want to offer low-cost, fast cross-border remittances targeting South Africa's 2.4 million migrants. So you can now make transfers to countries like Malawi, Zimbabwe, and Uganda, and it'll cost you as little as 5% in fees and take minutes instead of days. There's a whole informal economy that works around the flow of capital in South Africa. I don't know if you know that. So often what will happen is, say you are from Mozambique or Zimbabwe. There are places you can go to where you go and give a local guy here X amount in rand. They make a phone call to Mozambique, and an equivalent sum is then sent to someone who is ready to receive it back home, except I think they charge something like a 25% transaction fee of the money you send that way, but it's done within minutes. And I think this Mama Money solution is going to make that a lot easier for those who send remittances that way. MTN Nigeria has hit a market value of 10 trillion naira. That's over 117 billion rand, after a strong financial turnaround, becoming the country's second largest listed company to do so. And President Ramaphosa has warned that the South African Communist Party's decision to contest next year's municipal elections independently of the ANC could weaken the broader struggle for national democratic change. I wonder how many votes the communists are going to get. Or should I rather more accurately say, I wonder where their one vote is going to come.
702. Up next.
The Big Interview.
EWN
Traffic. Press the button. This Eyewitness News Traffic brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702, 16 after 7. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got an accident reported on the M1 North. It's right near Corley Drive in the Melrose area. It's causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of the Kilani Bends. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling in Kempton Park towards the OR Tambo Airport this morning, do expect delays on the R21 South due to another accident. This one reported right after Atlas Road. Delays coming out of the R23, and there's a lot that's happening in this area, particularly because of several reasons, like the faulty traffic lights right at Deoda Street and the Great North ramp. There's also slow-moving traffic along the Atlas Road approaching R21 off-ramp. So please be on the lookout there and drive with K. More updates coming up shortly.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 80. We've been having all of these the whole week. We're now up to late excuse number 80. You ran out of petrol and had to push your car to the petrol station. Well, fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are on the road, so you don't have to come up with creative excuses for being late, because you'll be on time, you see, because they ease traffic congestion to get you there quickly and safely. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The Big Interview.
With Bongani Bingwa.
18 minutes after 7 o'clock. On to this now. Tabu and her 2-year-old grandson walked for days to reach Uganda after deciding to run from the crisis in their country, South Sudan. They had a stark choice. You stay and be killed. You try to leave and be killed. But if you're lucky, you may just escape with your life. The choice was to decide which of the two warring sides would get to them with their bullets. You want to know what hell on earth looks like? Well, it's a tale of two countries mired in what the United Nations has called the world's worst humanitarian crisis. Sudan and South Sudan were cleaved to create two separate countries, and now are both at war within themselves, not with each other, but internally. Genocide, famine, displacement, and death on a staggering scale. So we've invited a geopolitical expert to give us an idiot's guide to what is unfolding, because often the attention of the world is on crises elsewhere. But we thought we'll go through what's happening in Sudan and South Sudan, respectively. Dr. Sonia Teron is a lecturer in security studies at the Department of Political Sciences at the University of Pretoria. A very good morning to you, Dr. Teron, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
So this is not going to be a cerebral conversation about what is going on, because we just want to know the basics. So let's start at the beginning, perhaps. Why were these two countries split? Why was Sudan, rather, cut in two?
Yes, so understanding that it is a very long history, these are two regions that historically were linked, but developed very separately in the sense of culturally and politically. We have what is today Sudan, which was predominantly Muslim with a combination of Arab and non-Arab communities and states, and Southern Sudan, which was predominantly African with indigenous religions, later Christian. And what happened is that during colonialism, the British government put these two states together. They did, however, govern them very separately with the intention that they would, at independence, be split. That is not what happened. At independence, it became clear that for geopolitical reasons, the government was going to keep these two states together. The Southerners immediately rebelled, even prior to independence, said they don't want to be part of Northern Sudan. There's a history of oppression from Northern Sudan, of slave raiding from Northern Sudan, so they want to rule themselves separately. They don't feel like they are part of Sudan. That led to what is considered the longest war on the African continent, over 50 years, from 1956 to 2005. When eventually an agreement was finally reached between Southern Sudan and the Khartoum government to say that, okay, after a transitional period, South Sudan will be able to vote on whether they want to separate. And 99% of the population said they want to separate from Sudan, which they did subsequently do. What is important to... Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, go on, yes.
This was in 2011.
Yes, that's how Sudan separated.
All right. What's important to note is?
That during that civil war, Southern Sudan started to recruit assistance from other regions in what is today Sudan, like Darfur, because those regions were also feeling oppressed by the government. But what happened in 2005 is that those regions were not included in any sort of peace agreement. So they were sort of left to their own devices to continue the fight on their own.
All right. So let's split these two countries. Let's start with Sudan. Omar al-Bashir, of course, was the strong man in the north in what remained as Sudan. It was really his ouster, in a sense, that sparked the conflict in Sudan.
Yes, it's true that that could be considered the spark, but we see in Sudan a continuous cycle of military dictatorship followed by protest for democracy, followed by collapse of democracy, followed by another military dictatorship. So what really was the challenge is, and why that cycle continued here, was the way that the transition was handled after the protests that brought Omar al-Bashir out, how the civilians and the military were unable to reach an agreement on how they were going to govern and how quickly, we were going to go to democracy.
So who are the two sides and what are they fighting for?
Yeah, so not long afterwards, the civilians fell out of the government. We then had the military take over, but within the military, there is a unit called the Rapid Support Forces. These are people who used to fight in Darfur, who were brought into the military by Bashir. And basically, the leader of this section of the military and al-Burhan, the head of the Sudanese military, were unable to agree on how to share power and how they wanted to move forward with governing the country.
So how has all of that affected the people of Sudan? I mean, can you give us a sense of the scale of the humanitarian disaster?
It is unfathomable. It is truly unfathomable. The amount of starvation. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of people who are displaced. People in some areas, in some cities that are under siege. that for months to years are unable to get out of the city to get food because the RSF has surrounded it. What is also then important to consider is it's not just basic needs that are being affected. It is the ability to access education, healthcare, all of these things. It is actually, to be really honest, indescribable to imagine that scale of starvation and suffering.
The number of people that have died?
Oh my goodness. I don't have that off the top of my head, but you are looking at several thousand, tens of thousands.
What happened, Dr. Turon, to the Darfur issue? You mentioned that. That was sort of on the radar of international news media. I would say 20 odd years ago. What happened to that genocide? What happened to the Janjaweed? Do they morph now into the RSF, as you were saying earlier? Did I get that right?
Yes, they did. Yes. So the Janjaweed morphed into the RSF, and they are actually continuing the type of ethnic targeting we saw 10, 20 years ago in Darfur is ongoing now once again in Darfur. So absolutely, it's an indicator of how quickly international attention fatigues and gets tired of a conflict. We see the same thing in South Sudan, and the numbers indicate that this should be at the top of global attention, but for various political reasons, also linked to what we are seeing happening in the U.S., in the Middle East, it is not something that grabs attention.
All right, South Sudan, the world's youngest country. What went wrong there?
So what went wrong there is that you had, similar to Sudan, a situation of, okay, we're moving towards a new government, but now going to lead.
Oh, we lost you there for a second. We're moving to a new government, but now who's going to lead?
Yes, who's going to lead? Who's going to be in charge of this government? So again, it is elites who can't agree on this very fundamental fact, and they are then using various narratives to get people to fight for them in an effort to pursue power.
I mean, 99% of the South Sudanese wanted this independence. We've seen, as you say, some disagreements about who's in charge, but haven't there been a number of peace agreements signed to end that?
Yes, there has. And the challenge is that the peace agreements are designed in such a way that they are really band-aids, because the peace agreements tend to say, okay, for X amount of years, we're going to lead together. But then every time we get to the breaking point of, okay, now we have to move towards elections, which means someone is going to lose, we start to see what we saw earlier this year, which is cabinet reshuffling, arresting of opponents, trying to bring in one's allies, which then they start to bring in militant groups to try and bolster their support and bolster their position.
Gosh, and now there's a food crisis. I understand something like 1 in 3 South Sudanese have been displaced, millions of others trapped between the warring sides.
Yes, yes. You're looking at millions of people displaced. When I was there, but this was several years ago, people were of the opinion that we're looking to leave the country. We'll make our future elsewhere. In addition to that, think about some statistics that show, for example, 40% of the people in South Sudan meet the criteria for PTSD. 70% of children are not in school. These are far-reaching consequences to the society. How do you bring that society back when an entire generation is lost in that way?
Are there vested interests from outside who stand to gain from all of this? Because, of course, in any kind of conflict on this continent, the resource curse is never far away.
Absolutely. We know that South Sudan is has large deposits of oil. That oil has to transit through Sudan. So both countries are important in this oil trade. We have definitely seen new actors come on board and get more, like the UAE and Russia, while other actors like the US actually seems to be withdrawing. and opening up the space to these geopolitical tensions and interest. The gold trade is another important resource there that some say is driving, for example, UAE interest in the state.
I mean, you've been on the ground. Can you describe to our listeners what life is like in South Sudan, even if there was peace? Because I see this barren land with makeshift shelters that are supposedly housing. Just give us a sense of what you saw when you were there.
So when I was there, this was 2017, so it was after the civil war had started. I think the only way to describe it, and it's not a very scientific way, is that there is a heaviness to the society. You can feel the weight of the history of violence and the despair amongst the people. That you just feel it walking down the streets. The exhaustion and the war fatigue. It is. Yeah, it's actually quite indescribable what you feel when you are actually there.
I'm going to ask you what might feel like a silly question. Why should South Africans care about this, Dr. Theron?
Well, I mean, by the very fact of being humanity and being part of humanity, and these are other human beings who are suffering like this for moral reason. If you want an interest-based reason in terms of why should we be interested in terms of materially, this is a region that we have been involved in terms of peacekeeping. We have diplomatic relations with this area. Obviously, migration also plays a role. But for me, those are really secondary to the very simple fact that people are suffering.
There are people there, isn't it? That's all we need.
Yeah.
There are people there. These are people like you and me, with aspirations, with hopes, with dreams, who are stuck in this endless nightmare I describe as hell on earth. Appreciate your time, Dr. Sonia Theron from the University of Pretoria's Department of Political Sciences.
EWN Business.
Telkom reporting solid results.
Yeah, the partly state-owned telecoms firm Telkom has reported stronger financial performance for the first quarter as the group focused more on mobile data and fiber-based services. Revenue in these segments went up 9.6% and 11.3% respectively. Group revenue rising by 1.1% to 10.8 billion rand, with group data revenue growth of 7%. Telkom has focused on growing the revenue contributions of mobile data and fiber-based services. Last year, the company disposed of its masts and towers business, SwiftNet, for 6.6 billion rand.
Pick and Pay on the way up. This is a good one.
Yeah, Pick n Pay says its turnover climbed by 4.3%, with like-for-like sales also up 3.8%. In its most recent trading statement, the retailer stated that it's moving forward with planned store closures and conversions in order to return to profitability in its core grocery sector. Its Boxer stores have also increased turnover by 12%. They've been the crown jewel for the group, really, while clothing increased by 17%.
Where's the rand?
17 rand 87 against the US dollar, stronger this morning at 20 rand 69 against the euro, and 23 rand 78 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $3,371 an ounce, or platinum is at $1,317. Brent crude at exactly $68 a barrel. More business after 8.
33 minutes after 7 o'clock. We move on from stories so quickly. Do you remember that mass murder in Lusikisiki a couple of years ago? Sfisa Zulu, what happened to that story?
Well, the trial is set to resume this morning, Bongani, with the state leading evidence from a witness. 18 people were shot last year at a village in the Eastern Cape during a traditional ceremony. The matter will be heard by the Special Mthatha High Court sitting at the Lusikisiki Magistrates Court. Nhlanhla Mabaso has more.
The trial was met with a few glitches and delays last week. Both the prosecution and defense have completed leading evidence from a witness in the murder of a politician and businessman shot and killed in KwaBhaca in August last year. The state has linked the firearms in the KwaBhaca case with those used in Gobozana village when the 18 victims were attacked. State prosecutors will now lead evidence from their witness in the murder. 6 men stand accused of the murder, including the alleged mastermind behind the brutal killing, Mzukisi Ndamase. The families of the victims have since called for justice in honor of their loved ones. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
Gauteng police have called on the public to assist with finding the culprits behind the murder of 4 women in Pretoria. Police discovered their charred remains between Watlu and Deneboom in the past 2 months. The 4 victims' burnt remains were found at Watlu train station on Monday. Police spokesperson Brenda Moridili says they have established a task team to investigate.
No one has been arrested yet, but the task team, which has been established to investigate these murders, is working around the clock, following possible leads to trace the perpetrators. The team comprises of seasoned detectives, crime intelligence, forensic, as well as crime scene experts.
And Cameroon's Constitutional Court has barred opposition leader Maurice Cutmore from running for president in the upcoming October general election, citing failure to meet the criteria for candidacy. Cutmore has been a vocal critic of President Paul Biya's government and came second in the 2018 presidential election after running for the MRC party. The country's Electoral Commission excluded Cutmore from the official list of presidential candidates because his newly affiliated Madiman registered party and it registered more than one presidential candidate, violating election regulations. Biya, who has ruled Cameroon for 43 years, will seek an 8th term in office without any significant opposition. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures are at lows of 3 and 6 degrees, peaking at highs between 21 and 23.
And in the traffic in the city of Tshwane, we've got delays on the N1 South between the Proof Plus interchange and Linwood Road. This is due to a car stuck on the road right near Linwood off-ramp. It's on the left shoulder of the road while traveling on the M1 South. This is towards Sandton. Do expect delays coming out of the Baklu interchange.
The top story this hour, the Lusikisiki mass murder trial is set to resume this morning.
Meet the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, re-engineered to be our thinnest and lightest foldable yet. Move with confidence, powered by an ultra-sleek, ultra-slim design that adapts wherever life takes you. Open your world to expansive screens, seamlessly crafted for work and play. It's innovation that fits your pocket. Upgrade to the new Galaxy Z Fold 7 and get double the storage on us. Hurry, offer ends 31 August. T's and C's apply.
When you empower a woman, you empower a whole nation. Women have a remarkable way of multiplying whatever is placed in their hands. This August, we're celebrating Women's Month with the theme Building Resilient Economies for All. We reflect and honor the courageous women of 1956 who took a stand against the injustices of the past. We also recognize and celebrate all South African women who continue to lead, build, and inspire across every part of our society, from business and education to peace building and beyond. Yes, there is still much to be done. The pursuit to achieving total gender equality and empowerment will continue until every woman is able to enjoy the benefits of a safe and just society. #Rekaufela Basadi. #Women's Month 2025. A message by the National Department of Sport, Arts and Culture.
Choose Checkers, SA's #1 value for money supermarket, and save on Clover Crush 100% fruit juice blend, 1.5 litre for $39.99 each. Bonita or Parmalat salted butter, 500 grams for $74.99, and Baby Soft White 2-ply or Supreme Quilts toilet rolls, 18 pack, any 2 for 249 Rand. Valid until this Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Every business begins with heart, but it thrives with support. And no one backs Gauteng's dreamers and doers like 702, Yoko, and you. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko are back to recognize and celebrate the local entrepreneurs making life better. From your favorite coffee spot to the baker who knows your name, from the salon that raised generations to the bold newcomer raising the bar. Just think of the business that made you feel seen. Now's your chance to say, I see you. I see you. Go to primemediaplus.com to view the categories and make your nomination. Because this province isn't just the hub of business, it's the home of excellence. And excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko Counter fuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
702
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani. Deeply sad interview. The leaders of today in this century will rather burn down everything and want to rule over the ashes with their evilness. It is a sick, sad situation that we are faced with as the human race.
Morning, Bongani. In your interview with Theron there about Sudan and South Sudan, I'm going to begin with your question, why should South Africa care? Besides the moral reason that there are people there, also, I think it's a stark reminder, it's a lesson for us to learn, when we begin to, how we manage, for example, our government of national unity and how we should guard our country jealously, to protect ourselves from any form of war, any form of disagreement that will spiral out of control. We have witnessed firsthand the devastating consequences of war. War is never a good thing for all involved. Prince, Bedford View.
Prince in Bedford View. Do you remember when South Africa took its leadership role on the continent seriously? Do you remember when there were all kinds of initiatives like NEPAD? And we had a president who strutted the global stage, trying to solve these problems, trying to prevent them from blowing up into these complicated crises they have now become. What happened to African solutions for African problems? Where's the African Union on this? Right? Imagine being caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, as they say. If you see some of these images, you are looking at barren lands where hardly any crops grow. These people have nothing. Nothing. But there's oil in the ground and there's gold in the ground. And so we'll let them slaughter each other and look the other way, because the real profits are going to players from outside. And so the AU, the UN, everybody is stum on what's happening there.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. Your chance to earn up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. Thabo is in Centurion. Thabo, what's today's answer?
Mama money.
Ooh, mama money. Mama, I like it. Mama money. Thabo, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
Yes, Bongos.
How about mama money? 1,000 Rand to you, all thanks to Outsurance. And 702. Your biscuit. Thabo says mama money is the answer. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
18 to 8. The CWN Sport is brought to you by R&B Corporate Banking. Ready, set, cash flow. Football. Who will win this season? Cindy Palucha, any predictions? Can you throw your bones?
No.
Can you gaze into your crystal ball?
No, but I can categorically say that if any team wants to topple Sundowns, they will have to hit the ground running.
Okay.
You cannot slip up once. Because Sundowns doesn't slip.
That's the pressure.
Right?
That's the pressure. We can still catch up. The last two seasons, Pirates players, Pirates fans, I should rather say. I wish I was a Pirates player. Pirates fans, that's what we've been saying for the last couple of seasons. We'll catch up. We can still catch up. But if
Pirates, to be fair, out of all the teams has possibly been the closest, right? And there's been seasons where it's been like 3 points, 6 points. Oh, if we just win and they lose 1, etc., right? So I was busy obviously looking at last season's table because it feels It's like, I know it was only in May, but it feels like such a distant memory. And in the end, it was 14. No, it was 10, 12.
12
Sorry.
points.
12 points was the difference. That's 4 wins. You absolutely cannot slip up this season. So please, guys, please can all the other teams just not slip up this season so we can have an exciting
If Pirates
season.
send me their new jersey, it'll be their good luck charm.
Just go buy it. You're a breakfast show host. I'm sure you can afford it. Right. Pirates are boosted by their recent... They play Sekhukhune on Saturday in the opening match of the Betway Premiership. They're boosted by their recent 4-0 win in the MTN8. New coach Abdeslam Wadu says winning is the only way to keep their fans engaged.
It's really important to give a very interesting game again, because we need to gain the trust of the fans. We need to show them that we are able definitely to compete at the highest level. And like I said, it will not be easy because the PSL this season, it's a high expectation. A lot of teams who want to compete. So it will not be easy, but we will be ready.
In transfer news, Man United and Newcastle have both made a bid for striker Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig. Porto FC's Champions League winning captain Jorge Costa has died at the age of 53 after cardiac arrest. Costa, who played 50 times for Portugal, was the director of football at the club. In rugby, the Bulls topped the overall table after the opening 2 rounds. Last year, the Bulls were favourites but were knocked out in the semi-finals by the Sharks. Assistant coach Kennedy Simba.
And I think that's probably the right way of trying to get the youth, through into, senior rugby, is that the elder statesmen, as you'd say, have got such wise wisdom and good experience behind them. You've got that almost calming figure because they've been through that, So I think that's very, very helpful. And nurturing is about, walking together and going forward.
Rugby Australia changed its selection policy, allowing overseas-based players to play at national level. The decision opens the door for players like Will Skelton, Taniela Tapau, Tom Hooper and Langy Gleeson, who all play abroad. Meanwhile, hooker David Porecki announced his retirement after being left out of the side for the 3rd test with the Lions. In cricket, New Zealand don't have bowlers Will O'Rourke and Nathan Smith for the 2nd test with Zimbabwe starting tomorrow. And in tennis, the Canada Open, Osaka got a straight sets win over Svetlana and will play Tucson in the semi-final after she beat the 6th seed Keys. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Feeling some lag in Sector 3?
Copy. Optimizing working capital. Ready. You're approaching a tight corner. Cash flow pressure ahead.
Low on liquidity. Supply pressure is building. Set.
Deploying cash injection in 3, 2, 1... Flow.
Nice move. Better supply chain control.
Lab time advantage. Faster cash cycles, leaner inventory, and optimized working capital.
Ready, set, cash flow. Corporate banking from RMB. RMB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider.
EWN Traffic.
14 to 8, this EWN Traffic brought to you by the new Opel Grandland. With smart tech and striking design, it's German engineering on a grand scale. Test drive one today at your nearest Opel dealer. Amo?
Well, Bongani, if you're traveling in Kempton Park, we've got heavy delays on the R21 South between the R23 and the Atlas Road exit. This is due to a major accident, so please be on the lookout there. There's another one being reported near the M1 South. This is in the Kelvin area. It's right on Pretoria Main Road near the M1 exit, and it's causing heavy traffic volumes. The M1 South is also backed up between the Baklu Interchange and Marlborough Drive while traveling on the M1 North bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is between Boysons Road and Grayston Drive due to multiple scenes. There was an accident earlier near Corlett Drive, as well as a taxi stuck near the Grayston Drive off-ramp. So that's the reason for those queues along the M1 North this morning. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Don't ever settle for great. You know that great feeling after nailing a big presentation? Imagine upgrading that. I'm talking driving home with your car's massage seat, practically high-fiving your bum. Headlights so bright, you feel like the star your boss said you were. Arriving home, making an entrance, grander than your slide transitions. Go grand in the new Opel Grandland, designed and made in Germany. Visit opel.co.za for more.
Opel Grandland.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me what's the question. If the answer is Mama Money. Let's see who is on the line. Let's try Sam in 4 ways. Sam, what's the question?
The question is, what product did Capitec introduce for their international clients to send money out of the country to their countries of origin? They're targeting to which product is...
You got it, Sam. Don't worry. Got it. You almost want to say which was invented in 1999 by this guy who then left to go. Are you one of those guys, Sam? Hey, you see there by the robots, there's a BP garage. Now across the road, there's a Shell garage, and then if you turn left, the road kind of bends to the left, and then you see there's like a little park, and then there's that funny little building. You see now before you get to that is that how you explain things? Not to worry, Sam. No big explanations, no long stories, but 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. We were talking, of course, about this informal way of transmitting money across many countries in the region. Capitec coming up with a solution that is likely to cost those who send remittances to those countries a whole lot less than is the case now. With the cost of living going up, you may be looking for ways to save money, like reusing your old tea bags, your stumos. Do you remember your stumos? That's what they were called. Outsurance says, nah, they got a better solution. They could save you money on your car insurance. Contact them today for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Time to get more out of your car insurance. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
As things stands now, Mayor, out of 10, how do you rate the improvement now in service delivery?
In terms of ISU, and I don't want to exaggerate this, I can say that we are now sitting at 4. And then in terms of waste collection, that's where our challenge is. We can give ourselves 1. In terms of roads, I can give the municipality 2 to 3%.
So in a nutshell, yes, there is improvement, but there's still a general failure at the end of the day.
You know, Clement, for you to improve first, you need to start from the beginning. And the beginning is where we are saying that we do acknowledge these failures and we don't want to hide them.
Sipho Khadebe, who's the executive mayor of Mfuleni local municipality.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
When selling a car, there's nothing worse than a long, frustrating process. We Buy Cars knows life's short and time is precious. Sell your car within a day from wherever you find it convenient. Simply complete the online form and We Buy Cars will make it happen. Need a new ride? Explore thousands of vehicles online or in-store. We Buy Cars, South Africa's trusted vehicle partner.
Did you ever work in the UK? If you did for at least 3 years and you're under 67, you can get a guaranteed UK state pension worth up to 5 million rand over a typical retirement for just a small payment directly to UK revenue. Most people get 40 rand back for every rand they pay in. There's a big queue at UK revenue as this opportunity may end soon, so act fast. Call Extra Pension in Cape Town or see extrapension.com. Mind your UK pension and it'll mind you. Service fees apply.
So we did a thing. A full commitment kind of thing. We've partnered with Sixt to bring worldwide to your doorstep. So, you see how that's a serious thing? Because that's what you deserve. We know you're the GOAT. So, premium it is. Premium service, premium vehicles, premium you, premium us. Sani Sixt is all about adding extra to ordinary. Extra reach, extra countries, so you can be extra premium worldwide. Be the greatest of all time and rent Sani Sixt.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Let's catch up now with the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Belle.
This took me back to childhood. Road trip food.
Yes, I mean, if you think about road trip food, maybe that your parents or grandparents prepared on long journeys back in the day, it may have been samis or you know, I don't know, whatever it may be. But I highly doubt anybody's parents prepared this. So this young lady shared a video on TikTok, and what it is basically 2 parents are sitting in the front of the car, obviously driving. She's in the back, and the mother pulls out boiled eggs, unpeeled, by the way. And there she sits with the eggs on her lap, peeling the boiled eggs. Gives one to the dad and offers to the child. She's like, no thanks. Well, we don't want a boiled egg and the smell and all that kind of stuff. Then she pulls out cold pork chops. Raw dogging a pork chop. Not even sliced, Bongles, like a whole pork chop. Hands it to the dad, and that's their padkos for the road trip. Very, 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 very bizarre. So I wanted to ask this morning, what was your memories of padkos meals prepared by your parents or grandparents? And if you go on journeys today, long journeys today, do you prepare food for the car, or do you stop over at one of your favorite takeaway joints en route to your destination?
Stop over.
Yeah, I mean,
especially if you've got young kids, because everybody's going to need a pee station anyway, right?
Yeah, but I mean, back in the day, you would have, needed a pee station as well. So, I mean,
you couldn't always pee everywhere you wanted to.
But you could have grabbed a pie.
I mean, I'm going to twist this conversation, Kabazela, and say, especially as a black person, you couldn't just pee anywhere you wanted to. That was part of the reason we got a lot of podcasts.
With the context, yes.
Yes, you see? Yes. So now I can pee wherever I want to, so I stop. Let's sneak in.
Danko. Yeah, let's sneak in. I mean, geez, this took place at last weekend's Hungarian Grand Prix. So it's one of those like old school sort of concrete slab walls that surrounds this particular section of the Grand Prix circuit. And there's these people on the one side of the wall. They are digging underneath this prefab wall, and they're digging and digging and digging, and they think, yes, we're going to sneak in here and we're going to watch this Grand Prix. The security guards are standing there just on the side, having a good laugh and watching these guys dig, trying to sneak in. And eventually the video ends, so I'm sure they would have confronted them as they thought they were getting in, and spoiled their dreams of watching the Grand Prix. But have you ever snuck into a venue before, or an event or a function that you had no invite to or no place of being, but you thought, hey, this looks like fun, let's sneak in here? Memories of sneaking in would be good to hear this morning.
All right, that's what's gone viral with Kabazela.
702. Feedback
with Rupfiwa Kone.
Rupfiwa Kone, food for road trips? You and your family? Do you pack? Do you make snacks? Or do you just stop and go and buy wherever you...
Well, growing up with my parents, since we're vendor people, my mom used to like to cook up, and we would always be excited to buy maybe KFC or something on the road, because we used to take the train to Venda back in the day. So it was always nice to have that warm up that mom made, and would mix it with
whatever you got on the way.
Whatever we got on the way.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What other feedback do you have?
Well, Bongani, something a little bit unrelated to the show this morning. We did get feedback from Annette, Naledi's mom, if you remember correctly.
Yes, this was the 11-year-old girl who was pregnant from a sexual assault, from a rape.
Yes, from a family friend. Following our interview with her, the accused was denied bail. The court cited that he posed a flight risk, and he had financial means to leave the country. And with South Africa's porous borders, it would make it difficult for us to prevent him from leaving the country. And also they were afraid that he would intimidate the family's the survivor's family. So he was denied bail. Annette has also informed me that Naledi is showing signs of recovery. She is doing better. They have been going to therapy together and individually. Naledi did manage to terminate the pregnancy. Yes. I remember, if you remember, a lot of listeners were worried that she's too young to carry.
Yeah.
She did manage to terminate the pregnancy. And tomorrow, they are back in court for the perpetrator's bail appeal or something like that.
Right, they're appealing the fact that they didn't get bail.
Yes.
Gosh, what a story, hey?
It
11
is.
years old, because she was quite advanced. I think it was the second trimester, right?
Yes, she was about 5 months.
Yeah, it was quite advanced in that pregnancy. But gosh, yeah, she may have been able to terminate the pregnancy, but the scars of this thing, I'm afraid there's no termination of those.
Absolutely.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
So how much? How much to make it go away? What's your price? 60,000 Rand? 100,000 Rand? In an explosive expose, Daily Maverick writer Peter Louis Myburg says the suspended Independent Development Trust CEO, Tebogo Malaka, offered to pay him a bribe, and he even has it on record. Have a listen.
So I just want to close this chapter.
Yeah, no, sure.
And I think I will need you to close this chapter.
Yeah, no, sure.
It's too much.
Yes, yeah, no, there's been a lot.
I
Yeah.
have kids, I have parents. My parents are old. They
Hmm.
were sick, they couldn't sleep over the last weekend.
Yeah.
Because, it's bad.
Sure, no, absolutely, yeah, no.
Bad.
Yeah, so,
I just thought, because some of the things I can't speak in front of Pasha,
Oh.
as much as I trust him, I'm his boss.
oh, okay.
I thought, let me
No, I was wondering about that. Now, did you decide beforehand to break up and then just me and you talk, or, yeah? Okay, yeah. Okay, no, sure.
So you will advise me
Yeah.
how we move forward.
Yes.
Gosh, that is audio recorded at what was meant to be a secret meeting. Peter Louis Myburg says this is where he was offered a bribe by this suspended CEO to stop investigating her affairs and what was happening at the IDT, the Independent Development Trust. This is an entity that is mandated with infrastructure build programs and projects like schools, like clinics. Peter Louis Myburg is up next.
This is EWN.
Zamazamas risk arrest and injury in Mpumalanga, and Rwanda agrees to take migrants from the US. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Some illegal miners who escaped from a mine in Mpumalanga before a police raid say they are ready to go back underground. They've told EWN that they'll continue entering decommissioned shafts illegally, claiming they are not being employed by Sheba Mine in Barberton. But the mine's management has condemned illicit mining and says it is investing in job creation. Mongezi Koko has more from Mpumalanga.
Speaking to EWN, some miners say the risks including arrest, injury or even death are still worth taking it if it means earning an income. One former miner described a place where miners can spend weeks below ground, sustained by supplies smuggled through hidden routes.
Until we die. We are going to come back several times until we die, until the Barberton mine start to recognize this community. We will never ever allow people from outside to vandalize our infrastructure down there.
On the other hand, Sheba Mine argues that CSI projects offer long-term jobs and stability but are being undermined by the impact of illegal mining. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News, Barberton.
The alleged mastermind behind the murder of popular musician Opa Sefoka, known as DJ Somebody, is expected to apply for bail in the Alexandra Magistrates Court this morning. Katiso Mulefe was arrested last month in connection with the crime. Sefoka died in 2022 together with two of his bodyguards during a drive-by shooting. Khomozomadisa reports.
When Katiso KT Mulefe was arrested last month in connection with a hit on DJ Somebody, he was already out on bail for another hit on Vereniging engineer Armand Swart. Mulefe was released on bail by the Pretoria High Court after his application was initially denied in a lower court. Today, Mulefe is expected to bring another application for bail before the Alexandra Magistrates Court, where he faces charges of being the alleged mastermind behind DJ Somebody's murder. But he's not the only musician that Mulefe is accused of calling a hit on. Last week, police confirmed that the Sandton businessman was also charged for the 2022 murder of a musician known as DJ Bintos, whose real name was Hector Buthelezi. Mulefe will appear alone in the Alexandra Magistrates Court today, with his co-accused, the alleged hitman, not applying for bail. Khomozo Modise, Eyewitness News.
And Rwanda is the latest African country that's willing to accept people deported by the US. The 250 migrants are part of deportation or a deportation deal agreed with Washington. President Donald Trump's administration has negotiated controversial arrangements to send people to third countries, among them South Sudan and Eswatini, in order to speed up deportations. This follows a cancelled agreement with Britain under which Kigali would have received deported illegal migrants from the UK, but that multi-million agreement was scrapped after the Conservative British government that negotiated it lost last year's elections. Meanwhile, the South African government says it's concerned about the impact deported criminals from the US to neighboring Eswatini could have on the country's security. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
As US President Donald Trump comes down hard on African nations through new trade tariffs, it's believed Eswatini has agreed to take the prisoners as a way to get into Trump's good graces. Trump has been on a mission to deport foreign nationals from US prisons since the start of the year. But in the case of those accepted by Eswatini, it's believed their home countries of Jamaica, Laos, Cuba, Yemen and Vietnam did not want to accept them. International Relations spokesperson Crispin Perry says the decision could also impact South Africa.
The government of the Republic of South Africa is deeply concerned about the profile of these individuals and the potential adverse impact on South Africa's national security and immigration policy, given the geographical proximity between the two sisterly countries.
Eswatini says the plan is to collaborate with the International Organization for Migration to facilitate the inmates' return to their native countries. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $3,353.32 an ounce. The rand is trading at 18.05 to the dollar, 23.96 to the pound, 20.82 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $68.76 a barrel.
Traffic remains heavily backed up on the M1 North between Boysons Road and Grayston Drive due to major accident seen in the Melrose area right near Corlett Drive. Please be on the lookout. If you're traveling in Kempton Park, more delays on the R21 South. This is between the R23 and Atlas Road due to an earlier accident.
And in your sport, as expected, all coaches confident ahead of the start of the Betway Premiership season that opens on Saturday. Winless Western Province have a fly-half crisis with both Smith and Mati injured ahead of this weekend's Currie Cup action. And New Zealand's bowling attack suffers a double blow ahead of tomorrow's second test with Zimbabwe.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Some illegal miners who escaped from a mine in Mpumalanga before a police raid say they are ready to go back underground.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Breakfast. If you've just joined us, we've had quite a show today. Looking at mostly stories from the rest of the continent, Angola has increased its fuel price by a third. Right? Imagine the price of fuel going up by 33%. I mean, isn't that hectic? In an oil-producing country where the majority are poor and the elites insanely rich. What was the woman again? Dos Santos' daughter. She was the richest woman on the continent. What was her name? Do you remember? The president's daughter? So-called businesswoman? What's her name, Mateo?
Was Christina Lorenzo? Can't quite remember the surname.
No, Lorenzo. I don't know why I'm choking. Lorenzo is related to the current president, João. Christina is related to João, connected to João. What was her name? Isabella dos Santos. It just came to me. Right? She was the most wealthy woman on the continent. All from money linked to the state coffers. Is that what we're trying to imitate?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
So, growing up for school holidays, we're always traveling from Zim to SA, and every time it was a fried full chicken, every single time. And one time I had won school prize money, and it was like 5,000 Zim dollars. Wasn't really much, but I was going to have the best road trip ever. But because I was traveling alone, they gave me to the care of one of the passengers, and he took it upon himself to take care of me. So he gave me his fried chicken, so I couldn't use my money. So I was like, okay, on my way back, I'm gonna have the time of my life. And guess what? The currency had changed. My few 5,000 rand Zim dollars, was now worth nothing.
Kabzaela and Bongani. This is Sidwell Tutsumani. You know, the menu that always wins in the townships and rural areas has been a dumpling and homemade, the home-cooked chicken. Mlekwa. Going, as we took trips, to other places at school and so on, even as elders, as adults, yeah. That's the thing. It wins all the time.
Good morning, Bongs and the 702 listeners. On carrying food for the road, back in the day, while we were still using Blue Line bus, the food of choice would always be boiled hard-bodied chicken and steamed bread. That would be the go-to food. And once and again, you would get KFC, and KFC on the road, on long distance. I don't know why, but it always slaps. Now, I'm driving now, so I'll just buy pie. But if I'm traveling with my brother, he will always bring hard-bodied chicken. Omlekwa. Have a nice day. It's one delay in Santin.
Morning, Bongani and the team. Speaking of road trip food, I remember when I was in primary, I had a school trip, and then I went to my grandmother to ask for, traditional cultural. We ask for something, you just go around families and they will give you something. And she didn't have anything to offer me. She sent someone to chase an African chicken for me because she had those. And I was just like stunned. I'm like, I'm getting an African chicken. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna eat this. My mom roasted for me. It was put in the oven. I just came back from the trip with it. I never even touched it because, wow, I'm African, but I didn't even touch it. That's from Willie in Santon.
All right. It seems that a lot of people with Padgos stories in terms of traveling long distance. Amo, you've got a young family. Is that a big part of traveling with your young kids?
I mean, you must understand, Bongs, before we leave our home, the first thing my son asks, no matter where we're going, is are we going to get food wherever we're going? So it matters not whether it's long distance or however, we always have to have something in the car. So I always make them little sandwiches, and there will be snacks as well, and fruits. Those are the best things to pack. But when I was growing up, it used to be the fried chicken. Made from home, though. We wouldn't buy it on the road, no. So even now, when I travel with my kids, I don't like stopping to buy food on the road. We will eat whatever I've made from home, and we will eat when we get there.
Mateo?
One thing I never wanted on long trips was yogurt, because it always caused a mess for other children. I'm like, don't pack that for me. I've seen what it does. I don't want that for me. And but it was always fried chicken. And the night before, you'd always be excited for your trip because you see everybody preparing all your snacks, and no one's allowed to touch the snacks in the house. And these are all for you for tomorrow. So yeah, those are very, very nice nostalgic memories.
All right, we'll take more of your thoughts on 072 702 1702.
EWN Traffic.
13 minutes after 8 o'clock, this Eyewitness News Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance in partnership with 702. Amo?
Well, in the city of Tshwane, Bongani, we've got an accident Centurion right after Nelme Pierce Drive. It's causing delays as you come out of the Brockfontein interchange. Please be on the lookout there and approach with care. Traveling towards the Flying Saucer interchange, there's a bit of a slight backup there on the N1 North. This is due to an accident that happened on the opposite side of the road, the N1 South. As a result, traffic is backed up from Rigel Avenue. While traveling on the M1 North, we still have got bumper-to-bumper delays. This is between Boyson's Road all the way to Greyston Drive. This is due to a major accident scene right in the Melrose area. And then there's another one that just happened. It's in Denver along the M2 West. It happened near Silver Street. It's causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of the Geldenhuys interchange. Please be on the lookout there. I'll have more updates. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Yes, some news you might have missed. Gordon, a 44-year-old man, switched to OUTsurance and now saves an unbelievable 2,794 Rand a month on his 2019 Ford Everest 2-litre automatic. OUTsurance clients always get something out. Get a quote today and see how much OUTsurance could save you on your car insurance. Call 08600 60,000 or visit outsurance.co.za. You always get something out. OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
For news on South African industry and mining, Creamer Media's Engineering News and Mining Weekly has you covered. Click through to Creamer Media's Engineering News each day for the latest on the people and companies shaping the energy transition and South African industry. Keep your finger on the critical minerals pulse by visiting Creamer Media's Mining Weekly. For deeper insight, subscribe to the Engineering News and Mining Weekly magazine, out on Fridays. Creamer Media, current, credible, comprehensive.
Here's some news you may have missed. Gordon, a 44-year-old man, switched to OUTsurance and now saves an unbelievable 2,794 Rand a month on his 2019 Ford Everest 2-litre automatic. OUTsurance clients always get something out.
Mr. Govender, congrats on the retirement. You just sold your car to We Buy Cars. Tell us about it.
Yes, it just gathered dust in the garage, so I exchanged it for cold hard cash. Now my wife and I can enjoy a stress-free retirement.
Retiring the car as you retire. Nice. So why We Buy Cars?
It was so quick. They came over to our house to do the evaluation, and we sold it the same day. Tops, man.
Okay, so now you got even more time on your hands, eh?
Exactly.
We Buy Cars. Geared for your next chapter. Geared for you.
Experience a once-in-a-lifetime Women's Day celebration on the 9th of August at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium, featuring 2 Grammy Award-winning legends, Anthony Hamilton and Joe Thomas, along South Africa's own incredible Zonke, Java and Vusi Nova. They're all live in concert. You can enjoy the ultimate VIP experience with platinum and golden standing tickets. You'll get complimentary seating, private bars, exclusive restrooms, and the freedom to bring your own picnic blankets for a truly relaxed, intimate evening. So get ready for a soul-stirring night as the voices that have captured Mzansi's heart bring the house down in true South African style. Get your tickets now on CompuTicket or webtickets.co.za. And it's brought to you by Soulful Night, Vertex Events, and 702.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
16 minutes after 8 o'clock. So, how much will it take to make it go away? What's your price? 60,000 Rand? 100,000 Rand? Maybe tenders, hey? In an explosive expose, Daily Maverick writer Peter Louis Myburg says the suspended Independent Development Trust CEO, Tebogo Malaka, and the entity spokesperson, Pasha Magolane, offered to pay him bribes to bury an ongoing Daily Maverick investigation. And he has it all on camera, he says. You'll remember, of course, Malaka was suspended following a PwC investigation into that 836 million Rand oxygen plant scandal. The CEO is accused of failing to prevent or act in violations that may have cost the state hundreds of millions of rands. And that story first came to light due to investigative reporting by the Daily Maverick. Peter Louis Myburg, always a pleasure to welcome you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Bongani. Thanks for having me.
A little earlier on, I played some of the audio that has been shared with us from one of those meetings. But perhaps for background, let's start with how all of this unfolded. You got a WhatsApp?
I did, yes. So this was in early June. I got a WhatsApp from Pasha Magolane, the IDP spokesperson, And it was quite out of the blue, I must say. At that point, I didn't have any media queries submitted to the IDT for any work that was coming out at that point. But what was happening was that I was looking into a IDT contract that appeared to be linked to a property being built for IDT CEO Tebogo Malaka in Gauteng. So there was this kind of ongoing investigation after my earlier oxygen plants expose the previous year. And it was very clear kind of from the outset, just in the language that Pasha Makhalani, the spokesperson, was using, that it was not going to be a kind of a standard journalist to spokesperson interaction. He was asking for a private meeting. He mentioned phrases and words like mutual interests. And then he also said that if we had a meeting, him and I, it would be in preparation for another meeting where Tebogo Malaka would also be present.
Were your eyebrows raised?
Kind of, very much. It just kind of like very much initially from the get-go, the language and the kind of suggestive language kind of pointed to me or suggested to me that this would not be, a normal discussions between a journalist and a state-owned entity CEO and spokesperson.
Sometimes as an investigative journalist, you may have a sense of wrongdoing at an entity. But did you, in your mind, suspect it would go as far as what you now say happened?
I was skeptical. Look, so like I said, I was immediately, my suspicions were aroused that I think they were kind of softening me up to take money to make a story go away.
All right.
Just because of the language that was being used. So that's why we were prepared, actually, to document what did actually happen.
Let's go back firstly, Peter. Let's go back to that first meeting. What happened there?
Yeah. Well, so at the first meeting with Pasha Makhalane at the same venue, he explained that my reporting on the IDT, the oxygen plants reporting, was doing them a lot of damage. It was harming Tebogo Malaka's reputation, and that he was sure that we could find mutual interests and a mutual way of going forward, doing some more positive reporting on the IDT, and then I could be rewarded for doing so.
How would you be rewarded?
Well, he did mention a 100,000 rand cash payment, a regular 100,000 rand cash payment at a time.
So this would be like a retainer?
Yes, and he also said I could bring contractors to the IDT. This is where the real money is. And that my nominated contractors could get IDT tenders, and then, I could get my cut from those tenders.
Gosh, so this was just you and Pasha Makhalane, the spokesperson, at that initial meeting?
That's correct, yes.
And was that recorded?
It was not. It was not. But what did happen, we do have a bit of a record of what transpired there, because after that meeting, he did send me a tender document and asked me to distribute it among my contractor contacts.
As if to say, see?
Yes. There's a tender in play. I can bring contractors, and presumably they would somehow fix it so that my contractors won the tenders.
Do you remember how much that tender, the value of that tender was?
It's a contractor development program for the IDT's Western Cape sort of projects. So it doesn't have a tender value. If you get shortlisted, then you are on a list of contractors that they can procure services from.
You go to your editors with all of this information, and what did they say?
Yeah, so I think very much it was important that, from the very get-go, we do this right. So we briefed them, we briefed our lawyers and another third-party advocate, just to get everything on the record and on paper that, we are going to pursue a meeting with Mr. Tebogo Malaka, and that it's our intention to hopefully document what she would do or offer during such a meeting.
So you set up the sting?
It is probably the best way to describe it, yes. This is a journalistic sting project to expose a public interest issue.
So then, all right, so this is now the second meeting, and at this one, you allege the CEO, Tebogo Malaka, showed up.
Yes, so I'm not alleging. We have the video that we published on Daily Maverick this morning showing Ms. Malaka and the spokesperson putting 60,000 Rand on a table at the restaurant in the Western Cape where we met on Sunday.
This was just days ago.
It was on Sunday, yes.
This past Sunday.
This past Sunday, correct? Yeah.
What happened? What did what did she say? How did we get to the money even coming out of? Is it a Dior bag?
It's a white Dior bag stuffed full of 200 Rand notes. So obviously I couldn't count the money there, but they said it was 60,000 Rand. It certainly looked like a substantial wad of cash. I did take a moment, and this is clear on the video that we've now published, I did take a moment to quickly snap it on my cell phone. They were a little bit shocked when I did that, obviously, but I did it nevertheless. So we do have a very clear photo of the money that was also offered to me.
In the audio that I played, she says to you that this has really had a negative impact on her. Her parents are elderly and aging. Her kids have been affected. Please stop this. What were you thinking when you heard those words?
Yeah, look, it's difficult. There's always a human element to the work we do. Absolutely. This is going to be massively disruptive for the affected parties. But there's a larger context. So in the coming days, we are going to release another investigation, and that'll show how hundreds of people, poor South Africans, were on the receiving end of, they were involved in an IDT project and they weren't paid properly. And Ms. Malaka seems to have been very much involved in all of this. And that is the issue that prompted the bribe offer. So, there is her pleas on the one end, but then on the other end, we are also doing this work on behalf of, people who are victims to the likes of, powerful figures like Ms. Malaka.
People can catch it all on the Daily Maverick website. Am I correct, Peter?
It is available now, yeah. It's published, and there's also a YouTube video that one can click into from the main story on the Daily Maverick site.
And I played some of that audio a little earlier on. It really is quite shocking. Since the publication, have they come forward to offer any kind of explanation? Were they even aware that you were recording them?
No. So we did offer them a right of reply, but they didn't respond before the deadline. And yeah, so to date, there's been no comment from them on the issue.
All right, you can check it all out on the Daily Maverick website. Daily Maverick investigative journalist there, Peter Louis Myberg. And just to remind you, the IDT has a mandate to execute social infrastructure projects. They're meant to be building schools and clinics. How does all of this sit with you?
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
Adam Gilchrist, welcome back. Let's look now on 80 years since Hiroshima.
Yeah, they've had a silent prayer across Japan and a ceremony at Hiroshima 80 years on since the nuclear bomb. Interesting side of it is that obviously this affected a lot of Japanese. It was 140,000 people who died, but amongst the 140,000, 40,000 of them were Korean. The Korean fatality rate was 57% compared to the overall rate of 33%. And it was because many Koreans had been taken from then Korea, not just North and South Korea, and became forced labor in Japanese arms factories in Hiroshima. Survivors say the cleanup and the body disposal was done almost entirely by Koreans. When some of them returned home, often burned and disfigured, they were shunned by society because they didn't look like other Koreans. It's only 6 years ago the first South Korean official inquiry report was published. Only last month, the first Japanese delegation to a memorial in South Korea. And one survivor, he was 3 at the time, Shin Jin-tai, says they're not even asking for an apology or compensation. It's just acknowledgement of the part they played. And I confess, I had no idea until I read this report yesterday.
I had no idea until you just told me this morning, Adam. NASA plans to do what on the moon?
Yes, build a nuclear reactor. Well, everyone's at it, frankly. I think it was in May that China and Russia both separately announced they wanted to do it by 2035. Now, NASA is reportedly speeding up its plans for a nuclear reactor on the moon by 2030. There are all sorts of questions about whether this is a kind of land grab, whether people want to go up to the moon and have keep out zones and that sort of stuff. But at least I suppose we're talking about the better side of nuclear energy as well. In that, if there is to be a settlement of any kind on the moon, how do you get the energy, the electricity? The answer seems to be nuclear, because nothing else really would have any future on the moon. It's sunny for half the month, but not for the other half. So interesting thought about what they're going to do up there.
Are they going to go over to the dark side, Adam? I wonder.
I think they already have some of them.
Tell me about fake Indian weddings.
Now, it's all the rage, isn't it, to dumb down and make weddings cheaper. But in India, the full-on thing is extraordinary. The multi-days dazzle of lights and glittering outfits and Bollywood this and lavish food and you name it. Well, now they're doing it without the ceremony. So fake wedding parties. No bride and groom, no relatives, no tears, no expensive gifts, just a ticket, all yours for a fee. Indian cities, including Mumbai, Delhi, and Bengaluru, are awash with ticketed fake wedding parties, a rising trend. I want to go to one. There's something about them, I think. Yeah, count me in.
I don't want to pay for the real thing, much less a fake one. We'll leave it there. Adam Gilchrist with this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
All right, let's wrap up the morning's business news. Muteo Faripe, Japanese car maker Mazda saying it expects losses of close to $1 billion. This, of course, as a result of Trump's tariffs.
Yeah, Mazda Motor says it expects a $987 million hit to its operating profit this year due to U.S. import tariffs. The Japanese car maker has rolled out measures to cushion the effects. It's taking measures including changing shipping routes, increasing output at its plant in the U.S. state of Alabama, and adjusting production volumes. The company says the effects of the higher U.S. duties on results this year remained quite significant, assuming that exports from Japan would face 15% tariffs and those from Mexico would face 25%. The company has a major plant in the Mexican state of Guanajuato, where most of the exports are sent to the U.S. Mazda says it sold around 210,000 vehicles in the U.S. market in the first half of this year, up 4% from a year earlier.
A stronger financial performance for Telkom in the first quarter.
Yeah, the partly state-owned telecoms firm Telkom has reported a stronger financial performance for the first quarter as the group focused more on mobile data and fiber-based services. Group revenue rose by 1.1% to 10.8 billion rand, with group data revenue growth of 7%. Telkom says last year the company disposed of its masts and towers business, SwiftNet, for 6.6 billion rand. Some of that money used for the 4.7 billion rand debt that it has paid off this year.
Oh, wouldn't it be lovely to have all that money to pay off all your debts? What's the rand looking like?
17 Rand 86, stronger against the US dollar this morning by 0.5% at 20 Rand 68 cents against the euro, and you'll need 23 Rand 76 cents to get a British pound. Price of gold remains flat this morning at $3,376 an ounce, or platinum is stronger at $1,320. Brent crude also up 0.5% at $67.99 a barrel. That's your morning business. Stephen Grotes with more this afternoon.
Time now for latest eyewitness news. Don't forget, coming up in this next half an hour, another corporate that cares. In the meantime, Sfiso Zulu, this Daily Maverick story is just unbelievable. Good morning.
That's right, Bongani. The publication has exposed an apparent attempt by the suspended CEO of the Independent Development Trust to bribe one of its journalists to kill a story. Daily Maverick says video and audio published this morning are from a meeting from Tebogo Malaka and the entity spokesperson Pasha Maholane. The publication says its journalist was offered 60,000 rand in cash and more rewards later if he agreed to write the story. Malaka and Magolane presented the money in an apparent attempt to cover up an ongoing Daily Maverick investigation involving an IDT contract and one of Malaka's upmarket properties.
So I just want to close this chapter.
Yeah, no, sure.
I think I will need you to close this chapter.
Yeah, no, sure.
It's too much.
Yes, yeah, no, there's been a lot.
I
Yeah.
have kids, I have parents. My parents are old. They
Hmm.
were sick, they couldn't sleep over the last weekend. Because, it's bad.
Sure, no, absolutely, yeah, no. Yeah, so,
I just thought, because some of the things I can't speak in front of Pasha,
Oh.
as much as I trust him, I'm his boss.
Investigative journalist Peter Louis Myberg says he received a text from Magolane to ask for a private meeting.
So this was in early June. I got a WhatsApp from Pasha Magolane, the IDT spokesperson, and it was quite out of the blue, I must say. At that point, I didn't have any media queries submitted to the IDT for any work that was coming out at that point. But what was happening was that I was looking into a IDT contract that appeared to be linked to a property being built for IDT CEO Tebogo Malaka in Gauteng. And it was very clear kind of from the outset, just seeing the language that Pasha Magolane, the spokesperson, was using, that it was not going to be a kind of a standard journalist to spokesperson interaction. He was asking for a private meeting.
The NPA has revealed that the buyer of a 7 million rand stolen transformer was previously involved in fraud in Tshwane. Katlego Molepo appeared in the Atteridgeville Magistrates Court yesterday, where he was denied bail for the second time. He's accused of buying the transformer from 4 City of Tshwane municipal workers who are also arrested in connection with the crime. Jabulile Mbata reports.
In court yesterday, Katlego Molepo fell to the ground, breaking out a sweat and hyperventilating when the magistrate denied his second attempt to a release on bail. The state argued that he knew he was buying a stolen transformer because he paid to a private account. They opposed his bail and added that this was his second offense. In a written statement to EWN, the NPA confirmed that from 2020 to 2021, Molepo defrauded the Department of Labour by fraudulently claiming money through the UIF. They added that on separate occasions, he claimed more than 250,000 rand, 1 million rand, and more than 100,000 rand. He was sentenced to 5 years direct imprisonment or a fine of 40,000 rand. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News, Atteridgeville Magistrates Court.
In the Eastern Cape, the Lusigisi mass murder case or trial is set to resume this morning with the state leading evidence from a witness. 18 people were shot last year at a village in the province during a traditional ceremony. The matter will be heard by the Special Mthatha High Court sitting at the Lusigisi Magistrates Court. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures are at lows of 3 and 6 degrees, peaking at highs between 21 and 23.
And in the traffic in Randpark Ridge, we've got delays on Beyers Nodia Drive approaching the N1 due to an accident. As a result, Jim Fosher Road is heavily backed up as well. While traveling on the M1 North, delays between the Kilani Bends and the Koile Drive due to a major accident scene causing about a 20-minute hold-up. Please be on the lookout.
The top story this hour, Daily Maverick has exposed an apparent attempt by the suspended CEO of the Independent Development Trust to bribe one of the publication's journalists to kill a story.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Is this an approach we're going to see more of?
We use what you call situational appropriateness. You cooperate. When we stop you, you raise your hand, we arrest you for being possession of firearms and any other crime. You dare take arms and challenge us and try to shoot at us. You'll get and match what belongs to you. We are safe. The community must be happy. They'll be safe. No more criminals who are daring law enforcement.
Major General Fred Kakana.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Whether it's bold new voices or timeless masters, the right gallery can stop you in your tracks. It's where creativity meets emotion. Every piece telling a story. If there's a local space that's moved you, challenged your perspective, or simply made you feel something unforgettable, well, now's your chance to say, I see you. Nominate your favorite for Gauteng's greatest art gallery at primemediaplus.com. because Gauteng isn't just the hub of business, it's the home of excellence. And that excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko counterfuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult day 3471. Fridays at work used to be great. 3 p.m., laptops off, music on, even a cheeky beer. Now I just sit with Teams open and pray that Monet from finance doesn't message me at 4:57 p.m.
Hating the corporate 9 to 5? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's easy and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Welcome to the future of well-being. On 4 September, the world's brightest minds in mental mastery descend on Cape Town for the first ever Mind Matters Summit at the CTICC. Join best-selling author of Solve for Happy, Mo Godat, top neuroscientist, Dr. Tara Swart, and co-creator of the Human Growth Code, Christoph Faconia. And that's just the beginning. Olympic gold medalist Tatiana Smith and singer Lyra joins a lineup of South African champions, sharing the exact tools they use to rise, recover, and lead under pressure. Whether you're a business leader, creative, or game changer, if you're serious about your mental mastery, this day is for you. Clarity, energy, emotional mastery. Mind Matters Summit. Change your mind, change your life. Book now at mindmatters-summit.com. See you on 4 September. Proudly supported by Prime Media Cares.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongs. Good morning, 702. Yeah, my question is, I wonder how many investigative journalists have taken the bait? Luvuyo Krasmir.
Morning, Bongani. I don't really think that this should come as a shock to us. It just happens to surface and we know about it now. But how many of these instances happen that we don't know of? How many of these brown envelopes move around? Dior bags move around? KFC bags move around with money, with loaded money in there? Just to empower somebody, to enrich somebody, or to quiet somebody. So this really doesn't just come as a shock to me. It's, if anything, it's just emphasizing the rot that is happening in many of these departments. And people go as far as saying it's corruption until you are involved. Then it's not. It's looking out for yourself. You will hear it from many of these tender people saying that.
Gosh, Muteo said something off air that really made me think. If you get caught up in something like this and there's your voice, what do you say to your people, to your network of friends, to your family? Imagine your voice being played on 702 and it's a secret recording of you offering money to a journalist to make a story about your alleged corruption go away. How do you explain that to your friends? Do you close the curtains, lock the gate, and not come out for a few days? Do you not drop off the kids at school? When everyone is texting you saying, how, show me. And no, what's your explanation? What would you say? What could you say?
EWN Sport.
Cindy Paluta, a name that's going to be on many South African lips this year. Abdeslam Wadu.
Yeah.
Abdeslam Wadu.
Well done.
Abdeslam Wadu.
So,
the coach of the coach of the coach of the coach of the coach.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, my colleague and I, Mawanda Mateza, sat in the newsroom trying to find all the pronunciations so we could make sure that we're getting it right. He is the new Orlando Pirates coach. He was unveiled, pre-season as soon as Jose Rivera left. But you never worry as a sports broadcaster about somebody's name till closer to the time.
You cross that bridge when you get there, right?
I also think when they unveiled him, I might have been on sick leave. I had like a bit of a strep throat earlier this month or year or whatever. I lost track of time. But I remember not announcing him. So I never had to worry about it till this week.
because the Betway Premiership starts.
By the end of this season, you'll know how to say that name.
Will I be saying Abdeslam Wadu is taking Orlando Pirates to championship glory, or will I be saying Orlando Pirates has started the search for a new coach by December?
We shall see.
That's how the PSL rolls, right? But it all opens on Saturday. The Betway Premiership, so exciting. 6 games. Last season's runners-up Pirates start against Sekakone. Here's your new coach.
No, I think I'm not a difficult person to please. I have a lot of expectation to my players. But no, definitely it's good sometimes as well to congratulate the people and to hear some good things. We'd like to continue the performance. It will not be easy, of course. It's another game. But definitely we want to achieve something on Saturday and to start well this PSL.
Transfer news: Man United and Newcastle have both made a bid for striker Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig. Porto FC's Champions League winning captain Jorge Costa has died at the age of 53 after cardiac arrest. Costa, who played 50 times for Portugal, was the director of football at Porto. Former Arsenal player Thomas Partey has been granted conditional bail after being charged with 5 counts of rape against 2 women. The alleged offences took place between 2021 and 2022. In rugby, Western Province are facing a fly-half crisis ahead of this weekend's Currie Cup clash with the Griquas. Carl Smith could miss the match due to a shoulder injury. Yuri Mati recently suffered concussion. Province assistant coach Brock Harris.
Yeah, we've got 1 or 2 injuries, still a little bit of hamstrings. Carl will find out today the severity of his shoulder injury. Hopefully it's not too long, but in general, actually not major injuries.
In cricket, New Zealand won't have bowlers Will O'Rourke and Nathan Smith for the second test with Zimbabwe. That starts tomorrow. And in tennis, women's tennis, the Canada Open, Osaka will play Tosal in the semi-final after both got straight sets wins over Svetlana and Keys. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Choices. We love them. Like a Jator dealer asking you, so which one do you like? And you're like, do you like the bold, stylish, head-turning dashing from 4,999 per month? Or the adventurous 7-seater X70 Plus from 5,199 per month? Both. Because yes, choices. Book your test drive at jator.coza and make an excellent choice either way. T's and C's apply. Jator. Drive your future.
Celebrate Women's Month in style with Hollywood bets and Spinner Zonke. Take fearless shots at fantastic fortunes with our special selection of fierce female-themed games. Kick back, relax, and entertain yourself with the ultimate slot escape. Let Heart of Rio put you in a carnival mood. Indulge in anime fantasy with 9 Tails, or embark on fire-breathing adventures in Dragon Kingdom. Supercharge your slots and bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for plumbers, electricians, and other tradesmen. Pumlani.
Switching to Outsurance was one of the best decisions that we've ever made. We needed business cover over 15 million. Outsurance came forth for us. At Kani, we sleep better at night, knowing that we always get something out of Outsurance.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
14 to 9, the man of the hour himself is in studio with us. Clement, good morning.
Good morning.
Do you ever take a step back from the news cycle and go, yo?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Every now and again.
Yeah, but sometimes I do look at the news cycle and I think we are in the proverbial ish. Really. And I mean, that video.
But also just like, it's so amateurish.
Like, what were they thinking? Do they know who Peter Louis Mayback is? I don't think they know him, because if they did, it is naive for anybody to get into a lunch and just easily offer money like that.
Into the
but
Dio
that tells
bags.
you how brazen it is.
Yeah.
Tells you how blunt they are. And I hope law enforcement is going to pick up on this as soon as possible.
It also tells you it's worked before.
It clearly has.
Right? It may not be investigative journalists.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
May not be. But they were doing something
that they've done before.
They knew would work.
Absolutely.
Gosh. Talking about people being captured, hey?
Yeah.
Didn't they say on X you were captured, Izol? Why are you captured? I saw
because I can't even people have blind loyalty. So if people love Bongani so much, if you say, no, but Bongani did this thing wrong, they're like, no, you are captured. But anyway, that's the irrationality of that platform.
Tell us about your capture
coming
this
up on
morning.
the show today, please don't be captured. We've got visitors. I need you to behave especially, okay? We've got visitors today at 7:02. We are hosting the People's Dialogue. We've been talking about it for a couple of days now. We are going to be joined by different South Africans from all walks of life, and we're just going to have a conversation, Bongani. We do this on my show every day between 9 and 10. Today we're going to do it face to face, and we're extending it to 3 hours. We're going to talk about where we find ourselves in this country. How did we get here? Where are we heading? What are the potential solutions? So that's between 9 and 12 o'clock. You can watch the dialogue on YouTube. You can listen and also comment as well. But yeah, it starts at 9 o'clock. I hope you'll be joining us.
You know, I said this on the show yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah.
The day before that, I had heard a conversation in the afternoon between Stephen and John. And they were talking about how gold is at record prices. And yet one mining company, as an example, has had to shed jobs because so much of what should be their gold is being mined by illegal miners. There's a story in Eyewitness News this morning that they spoke to illegal miners who were disrupted by a police raid, who are brazenly saying, oh, we're going back.
Yeah.
There's so many of these stories where you just think people are looking the other way.
Yeah.
That's a conversation that I think should be part of your People's Dialogue. Clement Manyatela coming up between 9 and 12.
Diabetes has become the leading cause of deaths in South Africa. Every hour, at least 3 people die of diabetes in this country. This means that in a year, we lose more than 30,000 people to this dreaded disease. This is a silent pandemic which requires active participation by all of us. You may be asking, what can I do as an individual? Limit intake of foods and drinks high in sugar and be physically active. Eat right for a better life. Foods high in sugar, fat and salt can lead to obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease and certain cancers. This message is brought to you by the National Department of Health.
To live wealthier, you need to be able to grow your assets. At Standard Bank Private, you get a team of internationally acclaimed financial experts to advise you on local and global investment strategies. Plus, being with a leader in home loans, you can start expanding your property portfolio. So, come live wealthier with Africa's best private bank. Apply online at standardbank.co.za. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
10 to 9, one of my favorite part of the week where we speak to corporates that care. Corporates That Care, of course, is all about promoting and encouraging corporate leaders and really all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa so that we jointly can make a difference in this society. Today, I'm pleased to tell you we have in the studio with us Advocate Michelle Phillips, who is, of course, the CEO of Transnet. And we do this every Wednesday, as I say, to highlight companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Welcome back to 702 Breakfast.
Thank you very much, Bongani. Thanks for having me.
We last spoke to you after your appointment, and we promised we'd have many more conversations, so I'm glad to be talking to you this morning, but perhaps about something a little different from the usual, right? So let's talk firstly about Transnet. For all the difficulties and challenges you've had to overcome, why are you a corporate that cares?
Very good question, Bongani. You know, it's the right thing to do. I look at Transnet and I look at why we are there. I look at our purpose. But I think more than that, you know, we have 51,000 employees in Transnet. And like myself, by far the majority of us have worked ourselves out of poverty. And we would not have been able to do that without the communities from where we come. You know, they say it's a village that helps to nurture a child. So we have to give back. And we are one of the biggest employers.
So we traverse the entire country. We go through all of these communities. We see the dependence on corporates such as ourselves. And therefore we have to give back, and we want them to also support us in what we do. So, in short, it's the right thing to do. It's our purpose.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do. All right, so let's talk about how you do it. Tell me about the Pello Pepper trains.
Yes, we are so proud of this particular flagship initiative. We have 2 Pello Pepper trains. They travel, as I said, the length and breadth of this country. They provide essentially mobile clinics. They provide primary health care. They provide dental services. They provide cancer screening, the kind of things that people in our communities may not be able to afford to access on a day-to-day basis. We try to get to them using these 2 trains. They go through the different areas, the different provinces, and thousands of people wait for these trains. I mean, we've, over the 30-year period since we've been running these trains since 1994, we've touched the lives of 19 million people.
Goodness me.
We wish we could do more.
What, it's 800,000 a year at this stage?
It's just over, it's almost 850,000, and I think we're going to surpass that number this year. And I mean, bearing in mind, out of the 52 weeks in the year, we are doing this for 38 weeks. We wish we could do it more, Yes, there are challenges. We get attacked by criminals who come onto our network and attack the infrastructure, and then the train gets delayed and we have poor people waiting for hours. So, we want to keep doing this, and we want to keep doing more of this. So we're very excited about the 2 Pello Pepper trains. I mean, of course, there's a number of other initiatives, but Pello Pepper is really our flagship.
This is the flagship.
Yes.
I mean, are they attacking just any train they think might have valuables on it? Or do they know exactly what it is that they're targeting?
The country has had a problem with attack on critical infrastructure. It's not only the railways, it's water, it's electricity. It's criminals, removing cabling, etc. That impacts the movement of any train. So, as a country, I think we need to stand together because of the impact that these are having on, like I said, the poorest of the poor.
Do you get the support that you need when it comes to law enforcement, or are you on your own?
We get a lot of support from law enforcement. We wish again that there was more, because our trains are interrupted on a daily basis. Pello Pepper, as I said, gets interrupted, but we overcome. We do a lot of work ourselves, but the authorities have been there. They have been supporting us, but I think that it's a big problem.
Because you don't know where the attack is going to come from.
You don't know when it's going to come, but it's not preventing us from doing what we need to do.
It's one thing, of course, to service communities that would otherwise not get access to these services, but I also like the idea of kind of a developmental layer to this, where there are healthcare professionals who are training and getting some kind of skills development through this process.
Yes, so we provide experiential learning for health science students on an annual basis. I think we do just under 1,500 students who come and get some of the, I suppose, in-service training online in these clinics. And then we also provide temporary employment on an annual basis, because as we go into these communities, we could be setting up a garden to help in terms of vegetables that can grow in those gardens. We have people who come and provide services. So there's also temporary employment. So that social development mandate that we have as a state-owned entity is a responsibility that we take very seriously.
Okay. We love talking about walking the talk here at
Yes.
702. So let's talk shoes.
Oh, yes.
Shoes
this is my
on
favorite
feet.
one.
Tell us about that campaign.
Yeah, so other than Pillow Paper, I'm so excited. We've been running this Shoes on Feet campaign. Again, I come from communities where we had a lot of kids who didn't have school shoes. So this is our way of also ensuring that kids actually go to school, because education is so important. Last year, we collected over 5,000 shoes, right? Not only within Transnet ourselves, but I basically went through my contact list on my phone and started sending messages, to our customers. We had Kumba come online, we had MSC come online, we had so many companies, Bidvest come online, so many of them coming on and saying, we love this, we want to do this with you, and I'm hoping, that it will be every year going forward.
Can I tell you a story of possibility? My own mother tells me that she didn't possess a pair of shoes, I think, until she was in standard 4, grade 6 now, it's called. And they were hand-me-downs.
Yes.
And all the other children in the village laughed at her.
Yeah.
Not because she was getting her first pair of shoes. They laughed at her because it was uncomfortable. It was clearly uncomfortable for her to walk in these things. And none of them had any shoes themselves.
Yes. Do you know what? It's amazing.
Mind-blowing, right?
This is lived experience. I remember, I come from having hand-me-downs as well, but I had very small feet. In our family, my feet were extremely small now. I still have small feet, but so now these things get handed down. My sisters, we would be cutting off the heels, the edges, so that it's be a little bit more smooth, because whoever wore it before. So yes, and the story of the cardboard in the shoes because of the holes. These are the things that our kids are going through. I go to these schools. And we hand over the shoes, and you can see how excited they are that, you're able to give this, and they are able to now attend school. So yes, Shoes on Feet, my absolute pet. I love it. Having to give to these kids is,
Michelle Phillips, we live in difficult times.
Yes.
What's your message to other corporates about stepping up and bridging the gap where nobody else can?
With opportunity, and, when you are in these positions, where you have a position of employment, it doesn't matter what that position is, you have to use that responsibly. I want us to start talking in this country about the good that we do. And I think that we can come on board as corporates and start spreading this positive messages.
That's exactly
we
why
spend a
corporates,
lot of money.
that's why we talk about corporates
Yes,
that care.
we need to talk about the positive news, the things that we're doing for education, the key things that we're doing to pull people out of poverty. I say to my people in Transnet, it's not about the job in Transnet, it's about the purpose. Why are we here? To touch the lives of ordinary South Africans on a daily basis in everything that we do.
So, if you are a corporate that cares and you're listening to us,
come on
board.
Absolutely. Come on board.
Advocate Michelle Williams, the Transnet Phillips, beg your pardon. Advocate Michelle Phillips, the Transnet Group CEO.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
How did I mess that up right at the end? Maybe I've overstayed my welcome. It's a minute after 9. The Clement Manyatela Show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Daily Maverick has exposed an apparent attempt by the suspended CEO of the Independent Development Trust to bribe one of the publication's journalists to kill a story. Daily Maverick released video and audio this morning of a meeting with Tebogo Malaka and the entity spokesperson Pasha Mahola